It was really good, but I'm okay with it.
Oh, you've been in before?
Yeah, that's right.
All right, here you go. Here you go. Let me get Yeah, it's beautiful. Wow.
So I think that actually starts on Thursday. There's all kinds of stuff going on.
Oh, did that play on Sunday?
I don't think it officially opens. I actually thought the same thing. I'm here reading. There's a lot of things going on. There's the poetry, the one act, Underline Buffet. That opens Thursday.
Oh, it opens Thursday.
Yeah, and then runs Thursday through Sunday for 3 weeks.
I see. Okay. I think thanks for that information.
I always like to call it a poetry jam. I had a friend, a dear friend, who I brought in many, many years ago to do the poetry. Her name was Jushi, some of you may remember her.
Yes, you do, yes.
And we lost her many years ago.
Yeah, recently.
I still miss her very much. But she had a bugaboo, and I agreed with her. She did not like slams. So I said, how about we call it a jam? She liked that, since she was also a jazz artist. So it's a poetry jam with prose on the side, because we don't like to lock out those of us who write prose as well. And we're going to get started. I'm sure more people will arrive, but we got lots of people, so we'll get started. So, the lovely Lola Rodriguez is always catching a train. So I said, you know what? I'm going to make you first today. So welcome, fabulous poetess, or poet, whatever you want to call her. She's fabulous, Lola Rodriguez.
Just call me the erstwhile Jack Kerouac in motion. This is my performance version. Can you hear me in the back?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. This is my performance version of a piece I've been working on for a while. I'm also writing a parallel play or playlet or whatever, which is also has music. And I thought that I would kind of dive into this. Times have been kind of rough lately, and I needed to focus more on my work and less on taking care of more practical business. This kind of worked. It was a very good distraction. I'm going to posit a quote to you, then I'm going to read this poem, and I'm going to dash and make way for all the other lovely performers. My quotation is by Edward T. Reddy from Philosophers, Inc. Does anyone know that publication or that individual? Well, I wrote it. Okay. But I used to use it as an intro because I thought, well, you know, you're always really looking for things that resonate with who you are and who the people are that you're attempting to communicate, particularly in the arts. How will you continue to sustain life in a society that had no use for flames when you burned brightest? If you're over 50, that may mean something. If you're an artist, that certainly means something. My poem is, We Are of Flesh. Listen, Wilson.
I hope you're going to put it back in your
I always do.
No. Last year I had a fiddle with it.
What? Oh,
10 minutes.
I'm sorry, gentlemen. We are of flesh, the age of respiration. Observe, the air is tighter, filled with the dust of obliteration. Weeping metallic powdered air, filigree simple lungs etched and unbidden. The slippery putrid talc slides off ziggurats and obelisks, exhaling via Con Ed minarets, piercing raw sky steeples, untethered kites, lifting on a tainted breeze. Drones hover like a mystery of strangled hummingbirds. Hummingbirds shedding particulated scales, lost wings, cleave together like desperation in magnetic fragments, pearly, stanic crumbs, drift in mottled micro slivers of jumbo pharma, corporate chemical, leafless cannabis, and the shedding of bad cocaine, all the sacred atoms of infernal bliss. Surveillance giants. I hear the elevated train crying out for you in silver particles, shrieking with the powder of all pulverized, bleeding out iron rain, palm trees, sewer grates, shaved and filed, lifting into ethereal realms, smothering the gods. The paradise tree. Here's the first part. Yes, further on, the gleaming Hudson is pounding the break wall, breathing from its heart for the city, traveling into the daydream of the ocean, emptying into itself, or northward into the towns and rail yards where its metal beauty finally paints itself into its paintings, history, and far-reaching mountain shadows well beyond Riverdale, the Bronx's well-bred daughter. For the optimist, tumult, foolish searching. The rock shakes, spins, orbits, stars pit the night with motion and perpetuity. Fiery craters burning beyond distant orbs. The planets dance in chains and laws. Pinball, stop time, checkmate. If nature wanes, this must be the new definition of bounty. And yet, nothing calls you, and nothingness knows your name. A glory, a fire and dust, tumult in Arcadia. Forgetful is the mad, rage sun within you that seeks its end, yet still looks back at life as if at a paradise tree, scarlet and yellow, lush, real and yet fantastical, that birthed you through trade winds of the equator, the angry, brimful current lifting hurricanes and a dark squall, compelling all to port. The ecstasy of Calliope, the heat and flare of Apollo, as if the stars were all forgotten and night was banished to the depths of the sea. One single occurrence as this only for the golden orb of day. Surrender and the wings and the winds which circumnavigate the earth uncontained and wild. Can't you hear them? Is there yet no discernment? Fires burn around the globe, living on fire, warning flares pulling in a lariat of flames. We suffer no surfeit of passion. Blow the winds, and the world, wheeling, ignites. Now in the fierce red hours before sleep, like a sonic speedball of sirens, loud with a scream of mythology, gale force exhalations, drawing their breath from the revolution of spheres in the space between air and earth, wildfire winds drawing their breath as you breathe, as breath, as your own memory, as breath, as your own, possessing nothing, outlasting you, victors as the gods have promised. No one is nature's own child. There is no prodigal of earth, for flesh is for the banished. And we are of flesh, and the winds and fire know you. You are not lost, but perfectly aligned. Your mission is to inform the stars. When will you be ready? And to the rest, if great tragedy springs from the core of our essence, who will enter with bullets? Who will be broken by a rose? Thank you. Thank you for listening.
Our duty is to inform the stars, huh? I don't know if the stars are waiting for our information. Somehow I think they have better things to do. But we are going to inform one another with our beautiful work today. And next up is Francis Hall, that are known to many as FACEBOY. And I do hope that he will introduce the lovely lady he's working with today.
I will.
I'm very excited to get to know her as well. FACEBOY has been performing at L.E.S. like forever and ever and ever, and he's always so charming and different and fascinating. So here he comes. He's coming. All right. FACEBOY, ladies and gentlemen, and all in between and above and below. FACEBOY.
Thank you. Recently, I saw my brother, John S. Hall of King Missile, great writer. I have a lot of respect for him. He was crossing the street and he had these two big backpacks on, and it looked weird and awkward, so I took a picture and I sent it to him with this text. Look at you crossing the street with your two fucking bags. What do you got two fucking bags for? Two fucking bags. What's wrong with one fucking bag? You two fucking bag walking fuck? He texted back, one fucking bag is my shit and the other is my daughter's shit. Is that all right with you? You photographing fuck? It took me just over an hour to finally respond, and I wrote, you think I got nothing to fuck to say? You think I got nothing to fuck to say after you lay that shit on me? Maybe you're right. Maybe I am that fuck that's got nothing to fuck to say after you lay that shit on me. Maybe I am that fuck. And a bag of fucking donuts. Is that all right with you? Me being that fucking fuck and a bag of fucking donuts? He wrote, yeah, I got no fucking problem with that. Then he asked if he could take the conversation and the photo for a poem to post, giving me credit for my part, and I wrote, I got no fucking problem with that. He said, great, thank you, and fuck you. And I closed it out with, you're welcome, and fuck you too. Lucille Tia Moore is going to join me for this. This is a poem I wrote for my therapist. It was the first time I really felt I connected with a therapist. He's wonderful. and he had to leave the organization where I was getting therapy. And for my last session with him, which was just on Thursday, I read him this poem, and he started crying before I even said the title, which was For Sean. You want to change the world, bring peace to places known and unknown. You want to be a Pied Piper of happiness, and you are. You want to bring healing in a world filled with hurt. You want to comfort those in pain, and you are. Bless you for the things that you do. Bless you for the love that you bring. With all that is holy, with all that is beauty, with all my failures and guilt and shame, you give me love. You have changed the world.
From all that fucking to all that love. That's cool with me. All right. We have an extraordinary woman coming up. She is a playwright, an actress, a poet, and a bundle of charm. She's emceeing in the Johnson, so I have to get her up here early. But Melanie Marie GOODREAUX is, well, she's special in the best sense of the word special. So extend your love and your ears to Melanie.
All right. This is from Black Jelly, which was my book that Steve Candid. Does anybody know Steve? That's right. That's the East Village, so I just want to say, this was Steve right before he went to the next place wherever he went. We made this book with each other. Okay. So this is a poem. Naked House. Thick cherub cherished by a cosmonaut of fate. Have you ever seen fat thighs, fat calves, fat belly embrace a utopia of orgasms? Flying far into weightlessness, toes missing the scale. Instead, they dig into the eternity of a hand-me-down futon. Legs open, the fire of liftoff beneath a skirt worn in the house for the past 2 days. Blood, reddening, cheeks, child, big, woman, fat, in his hands, a space station, freak, spank, space station. Pelvic tilting with such purpose, waves for patches of pleasures. An ergonomic egg chair smothered with good gravy of Mississippi, mushing and pushing. Nerves in spine are divine, remembering him from another time. Karma, dharma, darling, come around. So glad you have been brought down, built here from ash and flesh and memory and mud, vocations of scribblings, digital pumps of intergalactic space, arisen from exquisite doodles on loose leaf paper, handsome, face, lips, hips, fingertips, rocket ships and futures emerge from bones on your fingers, curling around the stylus you keep losing. Shared parade of scars, wounds, prayers, bootleg red carpet rolls out for us as we continue. More than numbers, a bomb in my pocket like a docket, another wall to climb, a kingdom come, black man afoot. How can I be this to you so dually at once? A warm bath in a semi-clean tub, wet boats of dust, lint floating around both of our bodies, heavy enough to swell the warm water into an overflowing gush, the intimacy rich with our wet hairs, legs wrapped and entangled, green bar of soap, the dick, the water, the suds, the bottom of the tub laughing with squeaks, the handsome there, the flab, the breath, and then the things we cannot share. Landscape of love in Harlem pictures, bowls of gumbo, stir fry of whatever we can find, the stank of pussy left dangling from the love of a day ago, dust mites, greasy cabinets, towels torn and old for us to fold while we grow old. Thank you.
Wow, okay. You can see where we're going today. We're all trying to avoid the outside world and pull in all the goodies. All right, well, I'm afraid we're going to have to dip our tongues and our art in and out today. I'd like to introduce to you another playwright. We have an abundance of playwrights today. Ms. BINA SHARIF. She has to split early for something at 6, so I promised to get her up early. You probably have seen her plays here. She has an extraordinary bent of mind, very different from anybody else in the whole wide world. So I'm sure she's got something interesting to impart to us today. Ms. BINA SHARIF.
Thank you so much, Lissa. Thank you for being so considerate. I was just going to say something, but I forgot coming over here. I don't know what I was going to say. This is called These Awful Dreams. There was a time in like 2015, I was dreaming a lot of bad dreams. And I just like got up one day and I said, my God, this is like I'm going to write a little bit about the dream I had. And within 5 seconds, I forgot the dream. Then I said, I only have 3 or 4 lines written. So I made it up. So I enjoyed that process and I wrote a lot. But my dreams are very horrible. Okay, these awful dreams. We were dancing, drinking and dancing. Everyone was dressed up. Strange music was playing. I didn't recognize the music, but it seemed like from the 70s. So far it's not awful. People were dressed like punk crazy, hippie crazy, smoking pot maybe, but dancing for sure. Everyone was in a good mood. It was the old days for sure. People used to be happy, happier at least. They were not so busy with themselves. They were only busy in their homes or offices. When they came out of the houses, they were ready to party. Meet someone, talk to someone, laugh with someone. People would go to bars and meet other people and then have sex after, or maybe the second day, but usually the same day. Why not? It's the first world. Everyone is free. That's why I came here. Somebody asked me, did your parents beat you up? And I was like, I didn't have an answer, but then she answered herself. Well, I'm sure they beat you up, that's why you were here. So aren't you happy that you are free? So it's the first world, everyone is free, at least to have sex and part. People would laugh more in those times. Maybe they were always high. But what's wrong with that? Laughter is good no matter how it comes. I used to laugh like crazy. You can only laugh when you are with people. But now, in the 21st century, is it 21st century? I forget. Or did we mess it up all together? Was it 21st century in the dream? I have no idea. But I know we were dancing. And our clothes were of a different era. And we were dancing strange. I don't know how people dance these days. No one talk about what style of dancing is popular right now. Dance of 21st century? What is it? Is it rock? Punk rock? Twist coming back? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not so hip. I just dream. And the dreams are strange. They're actually awful. A lot of people chasing me with guns and big knives. I'm so afraid of big knives. I tell my husband when he's cooking, could you please put these knives away? Could you please put these knives away? But I dream of knives in my dreams. My God. Oh, I wish this dream will end. And all of a sudden, I saw my dad, my father, who was deceased a long time ago. He woke up. And I said, I think the awful dreams in my life have ended. My father just woke up. And he started to shout. And he said, oh, the grandchildren, they're laughing so much. They're talking so much. They disturb my sleep. I can't sleep. Can you go and tell them to shut up? And I went to the children. Do children listen to anyone? I said, listen, your grandpa just woke up. You disturbed his sleep. Could you please, not be so loud? They say, oh, grandpa is always complaining. We're just laughing. We're just enjoying our life. We are kids. They couldn't worry about it at all. And then my father slept again. And then I realized, oh, it was just a dream. He's dead. And that was the part of the real awful dream. Then I was told that don't take illusions so seriously. Your dreams are all about your illusions in life. When people say certain things to you, you take them so seriously. Don't take things seriously. You are a comedian. You laugh. Just laugh more. And laugh at people who say things to you seriously. Earlier I said, sometimes they ask me, oh, did your father beat you up? Actually, I was invited to a literary salon, not as a participant, but as an observer. And we had a very good time. People did intellectual stories, poems, essays. Some people sang. And then, we had drinks and all that. And somebody started asking me some questions. They're quite frivolous, so I didn't really answer. And another lady would answer for the one who was just asking me questions. And the questions became like a dream, awful dream. That was the part of the awful dream, actually. They said, oh, how old are you? What's your source of income? Did your family have an inheritance? You're always sitting in cafes and writing or doing something and don't have a job, and we work all day long and you sit in the cafes. I said I sat in the cafes back home also. But then they said, oh, can I ask you a question? Was your brother and father raped you? The other lady said, they must have raped her, that's why she's here. She came to the free country. And then the first lady says to me, "Was your brothers and father militant?" And the other one said, of course, that's why she escaped. And you know, the first lady really enjoyed asking these questions. So she asked me another question. I said, listen, excuse me, I really have to go. I have to pee. I really have to pee. And she said, can I ask you another question before you go to pee? And I said, okay. She said, was your father and your brothers suicide bombers? So after this question, I just peed in my pants. I really peed. It just came out like a flood, you know. It was everywhere. And I said, look what you made me do. She said, what did I make you do? I said, I created a puddle because you won't let me go to the bathroom, you know. So, and this is how it goes. And this is how it goes. And then I just said to myself, am I awake or am I dreaming? Maybe this is the dream which is taking place during the day. And then there were suddenly many soldiers with guns rushing in. You are under arrest. They were shouting and pointing guns at me and shouting, and smashing windows and wine glasses and beer bottles. This is an illegal establishment, they were shouting. Booze is illegal here. I thought this was a literary salon. We might have been in some Islamic country, I thought. That is where the booze is illegal. No. It was for sure the First World's club, literary club. We were dressed like the First World. They arrested us all of us, shoved us into lorries and burnt the place down. They really burnt the place. Oh my God, they arrested us just for dancing, just for drinking, just for dancing and drinking. And they had clubs and they had like a lot of guns. And then I woke up. Thank God it was a dream. It was awful, but it was a dream. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Was this yours, honey? Or someone left it here, I don't know what it is. Let's see. Mickey Don Printing. Not mine. Anyway. All right. Well, it is Memorial Day coming up tomorrow. And we have someone that we should be honoring today. His name is PHILLIP GIAMBRI, and I made a terrible mistake. He was supposed to be on the card, and I goofed, and he isn't, so I apologize in print. Now I shall apologize in person. So terribly sorry that I didn't put you on the card, but you are a veteran, and you are a brilliant writer and a poet as well, and I'd love to call you up right now, take your time. PHILLIP has several books out, and he's an extraordinary, fascinating person. And, well, I think so. Don't laugh, it's true. Does anyone agree with me? Yes, you are my friends. So come on up and lay it on us.
Thank you. That was well.
I'm going to read something a little different today, a story poem. We're sitting in my favorite joint on Mulberry Street, sipping grappa on a beautiful sunny Sunday afternoon. Me, my buddy Dominic, and a friend of his, Cha-Cha. They were altar boys together, Our Lady of Pompeii, when the Mass was still in Latin. Cha-Cha never liked me, but he don't talk much anyway. Supposed to be looking out the window, carefully giving a once-over to anybody who passes by. Me and Dom were joking with the hostess, Teresa, and I asked her to come over and sit down with us. She seems uneasy with my invitation and smiles nervously. Says she'd like to, but she can't, because she's working. Hey, Terry, relax. I'm just messing with you, kiddo. It's Teresa, not Terry. Sure, Terry, whatever. She gives me a cold, icy turn, goes back to her podium. Dom says, hey, she's new. I think she's Albanian. She'll learn. The waiter Chooch keeps bringing over unordered fancy desserts and grappa. Dominic's brother, Fat Tony, comes in, carrying a plastic bag full of something. Hands it to Dom, says hello to everybody, takes a seat at our table. Dom looks around, gets up, leaves with the bag, says he'll be right back. few minutes later, Anthony, the owner of the joint, comes over, says hello, puts a plastic bag full of something on Dom's chair, tells Chooch to bring us another round of drinks. He shakes hands and goes back toward the kitchen, leaving the bag on the chair. Dominic comes back after about 10 minutes, carrying a different plastic bag, full of something. Walks over toward the kitchen and hands it to Anthony. They shake hands. He comes back to our table, picks up the bag in his chair and sits. Places the bag in his lap. Chooch brings over another round of drop-in desserts. I hand him my credit card and say, hey, how about you bring us three espressos and a twist of lemon and a cappuccino for Chacha over there, because we got to get going. He hands me back my credit card, shakes his head, no. I said, what do you mean? He says, forget about it. Boss says it's all good. He nods towards Anthony. We finish up our desserts and espresso and get up to go. We shake hands with Chooch and slip him a 50. He smiles warmly and hugs me. Dominic gives Anthony an air kiss on each cheek while shaking hands. I knock twice on the bar and leave a 20 for Frankie Cool, the bartender. On the way out, I'll drop another 20 on Teresa's reservation book, saying, hey, take care, beautiful, we'll be seeing you soon. She forces a smile through clenched teeth. Dominic gives her a wink and a thumbs up. We leave, each going our separate ways. Just another sunny Sunday afternoon with the boys downtown until a few hours later, when Fat Tony's found slumped over the stairwell with his new bicentennial edition cherry red Caddy Eldorado convertible. There's a clean shot at point blank range just behind his left earlobe, with what's later identified as a .22 Magnum slug, most likely from a two-shot high-standard Derringer. It's an execution weapon favored by the newly emerging Ghost Shadows gang, who regularly do contract work for Chinatown crime bosses and businessmen. This seemingly isolated incident marks the beginning of what is to become an ongoing conflict from the late 70s into the 90s for control of organized crime from Houston to Canal. Ghost Shadows 1, Mafia 0. Thank you.
Wow, okay. All right, fascinating. I didn't know that part of our history. Okay, well, we have yet another playwright coming up because they seem to have to run. This young woman, and she is a very young woman, BRIANNA BURTENIEFF, is, the torch has been passed from Crystal down to her granddaughter, and she's had her first full-length play just played here at Theater for the New City, issue number 9, and she did an excerpt from it here the other night for L.E.S. And she's also a marvelous poet. And I started hearing her poetry when she was like yay high, I think. And I knew her from the time she was yay high, and suddenly I'm writing a letter for her to get into college, you know, full of praise and love. And here she is, Ms. BURTENIEFF.
Thank you, Lissa. So I have one poem today. I wrote it in my handwriting, so I can't read it. Okay. It's called Post 9/11 Kids. Post 9/11 kids aren't afraid of you, or their parents, or their grandparents, especially the racist one, or their teachers, or the cops, or even the government. They've just begun. There's a laundry list of stuff to do. They were born into a world of crisis, so they're scared of the bigger things. Once-in-a-lifetime events that sting, like how Mother Nature's wellness got a case of hematosis. They're scared of being on the wrong side of history because they've been taught that there's good guys and bad guys, and you don't want to be the guy who turns his eyes away. So it comes to my surprise at their uprise, such a mystery. If the building you go to school in is not safe, if the news you read is not safe, if the air you breathe is not safe, then activism is a must-have fail-safe. To a world you watch through your phone, why not do your all to try to make a change when you know old age is probably out of range? Why not speak for those who have lost their homes, their lives? Post 9/11 kids aren't afraid of you. Post 9/11 kids just want a moment of peace. Post 9/11 kids will never cease. Post 9/11 kids will not stop until you start to do. Thank you.
Well, we're all living post 9/11. Kids, middle-aged, old. It's changed our mentality, as has COVID and the coming catastrophe of November, we hope not. Okay, I am about to call Mr. Stan Baker. Is he here? Stan? Stan is not here. Stan, okay. I don't know who I was going to call instead, so let's take a look. Ah, this beautiful lady's here. She's had a change of hairdo, and I didn't recognize her across the room until I saw those beautiful big eyes coming at me. She's a wonderful poet, artist. Just her name is so apropos, DIDI Champagne, because she is one of the bubbliest people I know, and a marvelous artist. And let's bring her to the podium.
So just a little bit about myself. Thank you so much for having me here. So being from Brooklyn, I began playing violin and singing in the early 60s. And then my father, being a diesel mechanic, used to take me to the junkyard in Staten Island. And at 8 and 9 years old, I loved fixing cars. So anytime I see like anything broken or anything, I just want to fix it. I just love seeing junk and I want to turn it into art. Anyway, so I just want to read this poem that I have, because I love both my parents. They were both so great to me. Okay, and one other thing is I have CDs with my artwork. Okay, this is my artwork and I have my poems here. I was writing poetry in college in 1978. I majored in music and minored in journalism. And I used to run an open mic there. And so everybody was reading their poetry and playing music, and I used to bring them out to the house, and we used to make food, and oh my God, it was such an amazing thing. And then I got thrown out because we made so much noise. But anyway, so this poem is, I love the earth. We just had Earth Day. And I feel that we are part of the earth, we are part of the universe, and we are the stars. We have 5 senses, and the stars have 5 points. You're a living thing, the earth is a living thing. We pay top dollar for classic cars. So you go down a well, a mile deep. Welcome the voice of the earthworms. Why? Do you like your mother more than your father? Do you like your father more than your mother? Are questions more important than answers? Are answers more important than questions? We may not own the city, but that quarter is mine. Even Sexy Sadie broke all the rules, but the world wanted her. The night studied the lines in her face. I am cruelty-free. I am cruelty-free. I am cruelty-free. And I don't have the crayons to explain it. Bring awareness to your body because you own it. The past exists in memory. The future exists in imagination. The present exists in the new reality. This land is your land. This land is my land. So raise your vibration and live for today. We live for today. Glad to be like naked roses. You'll hold a piece of linen. The earth flies on the senses. Genius and razor thin. I've got a full lotus pose underneath my skin. Genius and razor thin. I've got a full lotus pose underneath my skin. You're younger than tomorrow, so don't you forget to smell the roses. You're younger than tomorrow. You're younger than tomorrow. So don't you forget to smell the roses. Don't you forget to smell the roses. Thank you.
There's a lilac bush in my neighborhood, and lilacs are my favorite flower. And every time I pass, while it was blooming, I stuck my nose in, so I don't forget, ever. Well, we have a gentleman here, another playwright. His name is Larry Myers, and he, through the years, has sent me some wonderful monologues. And rather than read it himself, he asked me to read it, and it's something called the Kentucky Derby. I don't know if you've been seeing Larry's works through the years, but he travels all over the world, talking to all kinds of people and learning from them and commenting on everything he sees, but with, I don't know, maybe a slightly jaded eye, but he maintains his curiosity and his upbeat manner, and he's quite something. All right, here we go, the Kentucky Derby by Larry Myers. Well, Cindy Lou had to wear a whiplash collar to accessorize her Kentucky Derby bonnet, 'cause it was so heavy, it threw her neck out. Another gal arrived on ski pole crutches just to maintain balance and stand upright in her hat. Smell the flowers and expensive perfume. The costly jewelry dangles as heavy as the ghost of Christmas past chains. Huge hats are part of traditional Kentucky community celebration style. The Greeks wore high cathernae, that's platform shoes, to be closer to the gods on stage. Men and women wear colossal hats to derby to be seen. These camouflage the realities of horse training. Horses are often euthanized on the track. Broken legs, run down physical condition, torn ligaments. Last year, 7 horses killed. Poor things, separated from their mamas at 3. Bouquets and juleps distract from the horror engendered by corrupt cash, funding from liquor, tobacco, guns. The crowds become nostalgic for their favorite horses from their childhoods. Black Beauty, Trigger, Dale Evans's Buttermilk, Flicker, even the loquacious Mr. Ed. But I see only the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse. One positive thing was seeing the dainty daughter of a former chicken fryer. She is now a billionairess. Yes, I'm talking about Anna Nicole Smith. Yes, the Supreme Court made a worthwhile decision to allow her to inherit that fortune from that ancient old man. You know, today, McDonald's was sued for hiring 10-year-old migrants to handle dangerous hot fryers. But I digress. Someone is playing My Old Kentucky Home. Hear the roar and rush of the crowd. Isn't it sad that entertainment involves animal sacrifice, ignored or disguised? All right, what have we got up next? What wonderful persons are. Oh, yes. Well, I have just had the pleasure of meeting this extraordinary individual. I think you might all know him, Mr. Davidson Garrett.
Yeah.
I have not heard his work, but I am looking forward to it. I think I still am holding on to that something else. All right, Mr. Garrett.
I'm just having bored.
Well, you must be enjoying it.
When I was 19 years old, living in Louisiana, I had aspirations of becoming a Shakespearean actor. I memorized lots of Shakespearean monologues, particularly King Lear's "I have full cause of weeping, but this heart shall break into 1,000 flaws, or ere I'll weep. O fool, I shall go mad." Well, the next step, when I was 19, I decided to come to the Big Apple. And I was so psyched up for it. I knew that this wonderful city of ours was going to embrace me with all its heart. Welcome to New York. You think you're so unique, Buster? Get a grip on your ass. There's a million others just like you, all clawing for the same prize. Get a grip on your ass. Busloads of dreamers arrive daily, all clawing for the same prize. You're a competitive cliche, sweetheart. Busloads of dreamers arrive daily. Take a look in the mirror, handsome. You're a competitive cliche, sweetheart. Just another noodle in the pot. Take a look in the mirror, handsome. You blend in with the other losers. Just another noodle in the pot. Wake up and smell the chock full of nuts. You blend in with the other losers. Burn your Laurence Olivier flicks. Wake up and smell the chock full of nuts. Go out and buy some bulldozer balls. Burn your Laurence Olivier flicks. Don't quit your day job, honey lamb. Go out and buy some bulldozer balls. You think you're so unique, Buster? Unfortunately, I didn't get to do Shakespeare on Broadway, but I did become King Lear of the taxi. Driving them, driving you, driving no one, clutching a steering wheel, lost in my cab. What's the matter, ma'am? Isn't madness fun? Hack license hangs on plastic partition. Mugshot looks like a crackhead, ripe for rehab. Driving them, driving you, driving no one. Road rage, I morph into Attila the Hun. When calm prevails, I'm flighty as Queen Mab. What's the matter, ma'am? Isn't madness fun? Men in drag hail me, shout, "Step on it, hun!" We buzz downtown, engrossed in fabulous gab, driving them, driving you, driving no one. Headlights, taillights, orange lights, try not to run red lights. hauling a bitchy Upper East Side crab. What's the matter, ma'am? Isn't madness fun? Midnight mischief, sly thief points lethal gun, grabs my cash. Guess who'll pay the meter's tab? Driving them, driving you, driving no one. What's the matter, ma'am? Isn't madness fun? Thank you.
Yes, those of us in the theater can attest to the fact that madness is indeed fun. Okay, well, I see that Mr. Stan Baker has arrived. I had called him a bit earlier, but he was tardy. Anyway, I'm about to have the distinct pleasure of directing Stan Baker in his upcoming show, which is part of an evening that is opening May 30th, Party Clown of the Rich and Famous. And the second half of the show will be for one-act acts under the umbrella title of The Hungry Mind Buffet. So, let's bring to the podium the party clown of the rich and famous Mr. Human TV himself, Stan Baker.
Thank you, Lissa. Thanks for that awesome introduction, and also for the tardy slap on the wrist. So sorry about that. Yeah, I am the Human TV. Unfortunately, my TV cannot be with us tonight. It's in the shop. The pawn shop. Okay. Also, I have a couple of words I'd like to say about labels, specifically the label comedian. The way I look at it is if the audience is laughing at me, then I'm a comedian, okay? If they're just smiling and chuckling here and there, you know, that's, then I'm a humorist, all right? Thank you. Thank you, I'll take that one. We're working towards comedian. Okay. Okay, so, yeah, but also if the audience is sitting there silent with a confused look on their face, well then I'm a performance artist. Okay. Thanks. That's a good audience today. Okay, so I am going to do a short piece from my solo show. It's autobiographical. As Lissa mentioned, it's called Party Clown of the Rich and Famous. It's about me and the rich and famous. I wasn't a clown, I was a comedian doing walk-around comedy in various parties, like opening Trump Tower. Excuse me, sorry. I apologize. And also I was Salvador Dali's Easter Bunny. I think it's a funny show because I wrote it, but that's just my opinion. But it does open Thursday night right there in the Chino with the Hungry Mind Buffet following that afterwards, and it's going to be pretty good. I think you should definitely come see it. Okay, so now, I just wanted to say one thing. The thing I'm reading tonight is from Party Clown of the Rich and Famous, but it's an outtake. We had to cut some stuff for timing. Has nothing to do with the quality of the writing. Just the show was too long, and so that's, if you come to see the show, you won't hear this. So it's a special kind of scene I'm going to make. So as you would imagine, parties of the rich and famous are not usually. Oh no, actually, let me back up. Actually, if I was the TV, I'd just rewind. There we go. Well, parties of the rich and famous are not usually life-threatening events. But then there was that Tony charity fundraiser in the Hamptons with fireworks by Gucci. The spectacular display was narrated over loudspeakers by George Plimpton, as if we needed someone to explain fireworks. Okay. Anyway, bakers and heiresses lined the manicured lawns with their $1,000 Cinderella picnic baskets sprawled on blankets that cost more than my entire bedroom suite, if I ever have a bedroom suite. Okay, with my human television on, I still wasn't in the shop back then, I threaded my way through the patchwork of wealth, stopping to make witty double entendres like, I just got my cable installed and boy is my wife glad. No more problem with the vertical hole. Yeah. and so on. Well, maybe not so witty. Okay. So when I came upon this overly tan, you got to remember I'm very young when I'm doing this, so I apologize for being ageist in this here. When I came upon this overly tan, silver-haired guy with a trophy bride, 30 years his junior, I couldn't help myself. I handed her my remote control. Just let, if you could help me out with this. Oh, that's my remote control. And just follow the instructions from the stage. Okay. I came upon, so I handed her my remote control and asked her to turn me on. Okay? That's too cute. She obligingly pointed the remote in my direction and zapped me. Oh, yeah, I had responded in my best comic impression of a well, you know. Okay. Oh, yes. You really know how to push a guy's buttons. And she laughed girlishly. Her cotton-topped husband scowled and said, "Where's the off button on that thing?" Ignoring him, I said, "Don't stop now. I got enough batteries in my remote for a multiple. A mini-series." She pointed the clicker again at my equipment and pushed repeatedly. Oh my God. My ratings are really going up. That's enough, I said, snapped the old banker. Oh man, it's a good thing that this TV is solid state, or else I would have blown my tube. At this, Granddaddy Warbucks stood up, seething. "I've got a 5th degree black belt." To which I replied, "Kinky." I hear a belt around the neck really stiffens things up. "A black belt in karate, you potty mouth punk." Karate! They keep you active at the senior center, do they? Before he could give me his best hi-ya, his child bride grabbed him and pulled him down to the blanket, stroking his gray mane and his ego, and I imagine any other part of him that needed stroking. My work here was done. I moved on to other blankets, continuing to pester the rich and famous masters of the universe, who, for the most part, tittered and chortled at my bawdy buffoonery. The way I imagine royalty has always acknowledged their court jesters, if they weren't sending them to the dungeon for a molten lead enema. Thank you very much. Come see the show.
Fucking to sex to enemies. Okay. Whoa. All right. Has Mr. Howard Flanzer, I didn't see him. Has he not made it today? I know his health is up and down. He did want to come today. I don't see him. All right. Okay. Well, I think some of you might have to move aside from the piano because I know Peter DeZoZZA came back. Yeah, he's waving vigorously at me from all the way in the back. He had his whole entourage with him earlier. Fancy Pants, his dog, his daughter, and his wife. They have gone home, but he has come back to us, and I think he's going to favor us with just a little taste of a piece called After Death that is also a part of the Hungry Mind buffet. All right, you're going to squeeze in there, Peter?
Yeah, I'm going to do it.
This is it.
After Death, but it's my opportunity to sing it because I have, Lissa has found fantastic singers.
Yes,
who are.
You may be familiar with Elisa Erleov, she with the fuchsia hair, and the fantastic Jonathan Fox Powers. They are going to be doing the opera with Bill Broderick. But tonight, apropos
well, we get a little taste
of the composer always loves the opportunity to sing his own work. So, here he comes at you, wonderful Peter DeZoZZA.
Thank you. Our setting, which, and the poet related to this event here is Dante, and his interpretation of the history of the moment, which included murder, unfortunately. There was a fellow duke, and he had his wife and his brother, actually, also. Perhaps they were like King Mark sending his Tristan to pick up his wife, and of course,
But they, so Paolo and Giovanni, Paolo and Francesca are very much attracted to one another as they read King Arthur, which was also around back in the 1300s. But when Giovanni comes in, just like our favorite horror movies with Barbara Steele, he kills the lovers, and of course Barbara Steele will come back, don't worry. But what he does, he looks at them and he just sings to the audience. Does anyone think my brother and my wife made me kill them? I reject jealousy instead of being a loving and attentive husband. My elevated rank lets me play the noble, vengeful lord. Yes, I stayed behind when my coach left for Pizarro. Yes, they will haunt me till I die. If they want to haunt me after I die, then they will have to wait in line. And then they come out, the lovers, as they're trying to get into heaven. Roads to knowledge lead from darkness into light. Roads to knowledge lead from darkness into light. To those in darkness, knowledge is a snare. Where am I? With me, where were you? I don't know. I've been off the path so long. I do not know up from down, and from that lost place I come to you. Where are we? We're at the foot of heaven's gate. And there they are at the foot of heaven's gate, the two lovers. But as to where they are going from there, we'll have to go. See, yes, we threw out the body and saved the afterdeath. Thank
Peter, I was afraid you were going to give too much away. Come see the show, we open May 30th. Anyway, okay. Is Mr. David Mills in the house? David? Oh, I had lost track of him, and he called me, and I said, yeah, come read, you're fantastic, but apparently he hasn't made it yet. Okay, well, I know. The next gentleman is here.
Oh, yeah.
You all know Ron KOLM.
Yeah.
Everyone knows him. Everyone who's a poet knows Ron KOLM. He's the most giving, nurturing, extraordinary man, and writer and poet, and he's always so giving, and he loves us all because he loves poetry. Come up to the podium, Mr. Ron.
Yeah, Ron.
Oh.
My piece, this has really been wonderful, and my piece is not really going to fit it all, and I apologize. The new issue of The Opiate came out, and I got a poem in it. Sorry. The Engineer. During World War II, my father worked for Boeing in Seattle, helping to design the B-29 Superfortress, the plane that would later drop atomic bombs on Japan. He ended the war working for Drevo Corporation in Pittsburgh, where landing crafts were built that deposited tanks on Omaha Beach during D-Day. After the war, he taught at Lehigh University and then finally got a job in Philly, where he became the chief engineer of the Delaware River Port Authority. Whenever there were problems on the Benjamin Franklin or Walt Whitman bridges, old man KOLM, wearing a white hard hat, would check them out and then decide on what should be done to fix them. He was important enough to be invited to meetings in the World Trade Center in New York City. I was living in the city then, and I'd eat lunch with him, and then we'd walk to the entranceway where armed security always chased me away. I said goodbye to him as he disappeared inside the towering building. Years later, when his health was failing, he was admitted to a hospital in New Jersey, not too far from the Hudson River. He could see the Trade Center from his window. He was still in a hospital suffering from dementia when 9/11 happened. That was the final nail in his coffin, and he died soon thereafter. He will be remembered, and she actually put a picture of 9/11 in the magazine. Thank you, and sorry for the story. Everything else is so wonderful. Funny, terrific.
You're wonderful too, Ron.
I'm sorry.
Ron, there was nothing to apologize about. David? David?
No, it's not.
Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, it's Prince. Oh, I'm sorry. The shades fooled me. Oh my goodness. Sorry about that. Oh, the shades. They make us look so cool but unrecognizable. Okay, well, that's a good way of hiding. Okay, well, I don't see Richard, the beat of my heart, Mr. Richard West here. So I was going to call him next, so he'll just have to wait till he shows up. Well, next person up. You all know him. He sounds like he's from Transylvania, but he's not. He's really a pussycat from Ukraine. And he's a fantastic poet. He's Big Daddy Dada, I call him. And he's coming up right now, and I'm sure he's going to lay something really fantastic on us. Valerie,
Thank you. So, I'm gonna start with a obit poem. We recently lost some very important writers, among them David Shapiro, Neely Cherkovsky, Andy Clausen, Pamela Twining, and Jerome Rothenberg, whom I consider a mentor. This one is called The Ghost in My Sock. Trying to stuff 80 books in one sock. Jerry schlepping to Cornelia Street Cafe. Under hot lights in a basement, Jerome dances, his shimmy shakes, shoulders rotating rhythmically. The wizard of the sacred in a wine cellar, hypnotizing an audience of Dadaists, critic, anthropologist, editor, anthologist, translator, and mythologist. There are never enough hyphens to define a genius. Innovator and trance performer, born and raised here in New York City, died in Encinitas, California at 92, inventor of monostic, a poem in one line, sacred keeper of the divine sources of our poetry, immortal traveler through unspoken domain, through the dark galaxy without stars, chanting the language of the birds, over the ocean of measureless inspiration, dangerous, absurdist, free imagination, looking for the eternal solitude. Thank you. So, I'm on the verge of my new book that I launched recently at the Jefferson Market Library. It's called Here, There, and Nowhere. It's my book number 19. You think I'm the only poet that is just a poet. They don't do nothing but write poetry and read them because nobody reads poetry. So I want to say this is a collaboration with my wonderful wife, Ruth. She designed the cover and 11 collages inside. And I'm going to read you a couple of short poems from the book. One of them is called Madness Unlocked, and it's dedicated to the centenary of the first Surrealist manifesto that was published in 1924. I like my poetry to be sort of like a class. So at the end, we're going to have some questions and answers.
Will there be a quiz?
And if you like my poetry, I'm going to perform also in Johnson's Theatre later on, around 11 o'clock. So, victims of imagination reasserting its own right, indifferent in judgment, rebellious, neglected, solitary omnipotence, a hallucination of pleasure immemorial, illusions of freedom, illusory mystification, all in a cafe, pacing back and forth. The dream was knocking at the fresh window, evolution, and through writing not lost, a disclosure of dreams and nightmares. Elsewhere, across the waves of silence, invisible rays are illuminated. A pictopoetry, yes, pictopoetry existence, a hieroglyphization. I'm going to repeat because it's a very important word. A hieroglyphization of feelings. Roads covered with shards of glass. Just imagine one morning after a nightmare, walking up without dictators and wars. We revolutionize clouds from within. We purge ourselves of sentimentalism, of avant-clones, of boogie culture. No more brainwash of hip academia. Back to the roots of blues and jazz.
Yeah.
A quickie. So, me and my wife, we were traveling through Tuscany last summer, and this is a view from the top of the building where we live over Milan. And it's called The Bleeding Sun. The sun rises again over the rooftops of Milan, confronting the embattled streets of death. Tired sun, red sun, flushed, bleeding sun, bleeding above rooftops, melting as in a cubist landscape by Bertoni. The smokestacks of house in Neville stretch out their long necks, dark smoke signals belching out. Another soul dies, escaping through smokestacks. Smells of resurrection, light the candle. Milano calls to its parks full of ducks and hidden flamenco gardens. The holy Duomo of miracles dominates the spirit of the dead. Michelangelo's Rondanini Pietà in Sforzesca Castle, where he died next to it. For us, the mortals, the fear of loss of castles, villas, language and tradition, to statistical errors of social engineering. Milano of the fashionistas at every bar, at every corner. The Novecento Museum. Back to the future. Sunset, burning, fearless, race of despair. Thank you very much. I am Valery Oisianis, the voice of this village for 51 years.
Okay. Always emphatic and wonderful. Valery. He'll be performing later, so will I, at 9:51 in the Johnson. So I hope you all will hang around for all that free, marvelous L.E.S. entertainment. Well, I know I saw Mr. Michael Sanders earlier. He's out there. And he has an accompanist on the drums today. So I'm very excited. It's been a while since he's read for us, and he's fantastico. So I want to hear what he's got for us today. Michael Sanders.
Hello everyone. I am Michael Sanders and I am the author of this book, Never Run for the Bus in Winter.
Can't hear you, raise the mic.
Yes, please.
Sorry.
Or your voice, huh?
Or your voice, whichever.
He's got
Let's
an
do
accent.
both of this. Hello everyone, I am Michael Sanders. And I am the author of this book, Never Run for the Bus in Winter. However, the poem I'm doing today is not from that book. It's from a book that's coming out in September that's called Baobab, the Poetry. And Mr. Kirby, my accompaniment, and I will be doing a poem right now called Take the Caucasian Out of the Equation.
Black man killed me.
Teacher asked, what is the plight of Black America? A young man raised his hand and began. 2,000 years of white rule, 400 years of oppression, and still you hinder us even now. Still we are your cash cow. Still you steal what you can. Us, land, hip hop, the list doesn't stop. Even stole Jesus. Gave him pale skin and blue eyes, made him passive. I don't know about Jesus, but judging from all the fires worldwide, I would say that Shango was pissed. Now listen to this. It might be time to take the Caucasian out of the equation. You complain about our lack of independence, but every time we try, you said our villagify. Like Wall Street and others. This goes no further. You already owe us more than you can ever repay. But if you just stay out of the way, that'll stop killing us. And stop saying when we make a fuss, well, about black on black crime. Not your business. It's mine. Poverty begets crime. And with time and independence, that will change. And you know what else is strange? You need independence too. It's time you learn to live without us. It's time we openly discuss taking the Caucasian out of the equation. Banks approve of loans, only the ones we don't need. A system based primarily on greed. Personal loans, no business, no building of capital. And 1% is the actual return on our money. And what's funny is that 29, well really 32% is what they charge me and you. And still we beg for what we can't get. I think it's time to quit. Since the money lenders charge us more interest than they do the rest, we'll build our own banks and charge each other less. Let's take the Caucasian out of the equation. Black women die in hospitals in greater number than anybody else. Dealt by racism, you might say. Black children are not educated in the warehouse to move from the school to the jail one day. And we assimilate a culture that is not ours because we have lost our way. And I hope this narrative is showing the survival imperative of taking the Caucasian out of the equation. The students stopped. And after a pause that was long, he took a deep breath and went on. This is not the balance. It is as much for you as for me. You can be relieved of your responsibility. A chance to atone for our history. Take it. Maybe then racial harmony will be part of our country. We certainly can see if we start on this occasion to take the Caucasian out of the equation.
Dante.
Howard, I'd already called you, so you don't have to go sit down. You can
I
come right
can
up.
I can come right up.
I saved you the trip.
No, that's great.
Circumnavigating this garden. Looks like we've gotten close to the audience, which is fine with me. All right, so watch your step. There is a little step. Okay.
My watch is
Do you need anything? Do you need me to grab the cane or anything?
It's like 20 after 5.
All right. Well, thank you, Michael. By the way.
No, I'm telling you what time it is, not time what my
All
watch
right.
says.
I told you
I told you the actual time.
All right, no problem.
Not the
All right,
time.
everybody.
Have you looked?
Here comes PFLANZER. He's about to read for
Yeah,
us.
it's like 25.
And many years ago, I had the pleasure of directing a play of his called Cocaine Dreams, and it was a wonderful experience. And here he is reading some poetry for. So I have another playwright here. Oh my God, we have a plenitude of playwrights. All right.
Thank you.
You're most welcome.
Okay, a couple of short poems. One is called Una Poeta en Playas, which is in Tijuana. The malls are America with a Spanish accent. The darkened streets lined with houses, homes to hard-working people in this coastal city. At night, a cold wind cuts across the landscape. The hills undulating under the stars of Orion are dry and steep. Peopled ramparts facing the water, waves glistening under a crescent moon. The place holds secrets that are never revealed. Protected from intruding eyes, the city silently sleeps. Far down the beach, where the border wall enters the sea between the two countries, the faint sound of a copter, lights sweeping across the beach, spotting people in its glare, more dark forms swimming against the current, endlessly moving with the tide, pushed up against an impenetrable barrier. No escape. And in this day and age, you can't avoid what's going on in the world. So, the next couple of poems. The first one is called Bombardment. Sitting at the table, listening to my thoughts, they roll in like an approaching storm. The world intrudes, thunder, flashes of lightning, rubbled cities, corpses strewn about like piled garbage, fragments of walls, burnt out cars, pulverized roads, and the children, where are they? Dead. An awful stillness pervades this land, where lives are buried forever. An eerie silence masks it all. This one is called Land Mines and Luxury Condos. As I scroll through the article on landmines in Ukraine, ads keep appearing for luxury condos in Boca Raton. The condos have picturesque names, Lotus Luxury Homes to entice you. The landmines are known as Witches and the Leaf, enigmatic and deadly. Beautiful homes fill the screen with multi-million-dollar residences. The fields are gardens of landmines, jumping butterfly and TNT mines, hidden treasures
primed to explode, to shear off a foot or shred an arm. Caution is required, and it's not enough to save you. I wonder if any victims of shattered limbs will ever live in a Lotus luxury condo. And finally, becoming a fascist. How does a Zionist become a Nazi? Step by step, you justify each decisive action against Palestinians. First, you take their land, uproot their olive trees, you burn their houses and bomb their hospitals and schools. You starve them so more children die. Then you murder them after destroying their livelihoods. They are labeled a threat to your existence. They are termed human animals. They have no right to live. Their existence is called an affront to true Zionists. Their art and culture are deemed valueless. It can be easily erased without any loss to the culture of the world. After the Palestinians are dead, they will not be forgotten by those who are living. They will continue their resistance until justice is done. I know it's divisive, but that's what I feel.
Yeah, genocide's great, isn't it?
Yeah.
Genocide is great.
What?
I'm asking these people who are if they even thought.
We got it. It's just that, well, what I'm going to read, I think, I am going to do one of mine right now, which I think will balance the equation a little bit. Everyone is entitled to their own feelings. I just don't think one should mention one side without the other on that. I feel about that way. So if I may take, but you're totally entitled to your feelings, and I think you know, there's a lot going on that's horrifying.
Yes.
And I certainly agree with that. I think Netanyahu is a Nazi, as far as I'm concerned.
Yes, that's another issue.
That's another issue.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bina. I hope you make
Zionism kills Judaism. That's not divisive.
All right. I know it's divisive.
It's okay. Easy does it. Easy does it. Watch your step. Watch your step. Okay? Careful. Watch that step.
Thank you.
Watch your step.
All right. I'm fine.
All right, well, I think this is one that I think speaks to the situation, and this is the way I feel about it. I did read it the last time we had the Live Poet Society, but I think it bears repeating. It's called Weariness. Isn't it about time the world grew weary of paying the cost of dueling holocausts, the antics, semantics of pride and genocide or not genocide? No matter which side you see it from, or how you died and how come you lied, hell-bent on quibbling over moral equivalencies that are neither moral nor equivalent. All the rights of history piled up, riled up into wrongs, pounding out, drowning out all love songs. Yes, yes, I know evil cannot go unanswered, lest the cancer metastasize. But what is the answer? And what is the prize? I don't know what to do. Do you? They all seem so unwilling to stop the killing. Semite on Semite, and two so-called gods who don't give a shite what we do to each other as our Mother Earth bleeds and chokes on our indifference to her needs. But what's the difference, folks? Since the inference is we're deaf as she bleeds. Do we pass the soma and drift into ecstatic coma? What's to be done as tragedy and catastrophe melt into one? Shall it be cowardly autocracy, blind theocracy, or courageous democracy? Is there an oasis to linger in? What dam do we stick our finger in first? We need a thirst for the genius to give up on meanness, stop the sadness, stop the madness. But whom to trust, as the world does indeed grow weary of us. beautiful, young, strapping man. Come on up to the podium. I love his work. I just got introduced to it a couple of years ago. He's absolutely wonderful. George Bartenieff sent him to us shortly before he left us. And, well, Nate has the mantle now, so do it for us, Nate.
Let's hear it for LISSA. This is the first time that I was ever on a stage in this city, so I really appreciate you and this and being here. You were mentioned, I didn't know exactly which pieces I was going to do, so forgive me that I will be reading mostly the first, because when you mentioned Memorial Day and being here, I thought that I should read a poem by a great friend and mentor of mine, Mark Smith, who founded the slam poetry movement in Chicago and had a big impact on my life. So the first poem that I'm going to do of two is a poem by him called Pull the Next One Up. When you get to the top of the mountain, pull the next one up. Then there will be two of you, ropes together at the waist, tired and proud, knowing the mountain, knowing the human force it took to bring the both of you there. And when the second one has finished, taking in the view, satisfied by the heat and the perspiration under the wool, let her pull the next one up. Man or woman, climber of mountains, pull the next hand over the last jagged rock to become three. Two showing what they've already seen, and one knowing now the well-being with being. Finished with one mountain, with being able to look out a long way toward other mountains. Feeling a temptation to claim victory. When you ask, how high is this mountain? With the compulsion to know where you stand in relation to other peaks. Look down to where from you came up and see the rope that is tied to your waist. Tied to the next man's waist, to the next woman's waist, to the next one's waist, the first man's waist, to the first woman's waist. Don't waste time scratching inscriptions into the monolith. You are the stone itself. And each man, each woman, up the mountain, each breath exhaled at the peak, each glad I made it. Here's my hand, each heartbeat wrapped around the hot skin of the sun-bright sky, each noise panted or cracked with laughter. All these are inscriptions of a human force that can conquer conquering. Hand over hand and pulling at the rope, the next man up, the next woman up, sharing a place, a vision, room enough for all on all the mountain peaks, to hold all the hanging bodies dangling in the deep recesses of the mountain's belly, steady until they have the courage, until they know the courage, until they understand that the only courage there is to pull the next one up, and the next one, and the next. Gotta be proud of being raised up by a socialist, huh? And this one is one by myself. There's a line on this side of the moon, turning the white face black. I truly can't be more poetic than that. There's a line at this side of the moon. It's called a full lunar eclipse. It's where the Earth sits on the path the light hits to give the white dust its luminosity. There's a line on the now crescent moon. Is there something it all must mean? Do the seasons and lines have to turn within rhymes to crank out a point preconceived? Or is there a shaded moon? that will be on its own enough to hit home without saying a goddamn thing. Thank you very much.
Oh gosh, thank you, Nate. That cleared the air of hostility. It was beautiful. Really touching. But your first poem about the mountain reminded me of something that Tommy Smothers once said. He said he didn't care who he stepped on the way down. All right, Prince McNally, Prince A. McNally, I saw you come in with your shades. I didn't recognize you, but I want to see your eyes. They're such good eyes. Come, and the poetry equals the eyes. Wonderful, wonderful work he does. Hello, lay it on us. There they are, and they're great. Whoa, love them eyes.
Hashtag. Today, in the U.S., military assault weapons are trending. Hashtag. Mass shootings across the country are trending. Hashtag. Active shooter on campus is trending. Sandy Hook is trending. Uvalde, Texas is trending. It's an ongoing American gun saga. On May 24th, 2022, 19 children and 2 teachers were fatally shot, while 17 others were wounded by a single gunman at Robb Elementary School in Uvalde, Texas. During the 4th of July parade in Highland Park, Illinois, 7 people were killed and over 2 dozen were wounded by a lone sniper using a military assault rifle. These horrific shootings strongly suggest that we are as a country are in a dire state of emergency. I cannot begin to imagine what it must feel like for a parent to lose a child, or for a child to lose a parent to gun violence, particularly in our schools, where they should have been safe, where they should have been protected, and yet they became the latest victims of our failed system, another American tragedy. This poem is an honorary hashtag acknowledging all those who were brutally massacred or wounded in our schools, in public spaces, by gunmen who were allowed to purchase military assault weapons, no background checks taken. When a child is born, the angels sing a serendipitous soliloquy, and when the song of a child's life is suddenly interrupted, the angels weep with a sadness as deep and heavy as a bloated cloud. It doesn't matter if you weren't in those classrooms in Columbine, Sandy Hook, or Robb Elementary. It doesn't matter if you weren't at the parade in Highland Park, Illinois, the church in Charleston, South Carolina, the shopping mart in Buffalo, New York, or that club in Orlando, Florida. It doesn't matter if you're black, Hispanic, white, Asian, or Native American. It doesn't matter if you identify as gay, straight, transgender, or queer. Regardless of your financial status, political affiliation, or religion, we are all human. Therefore, we are all victims of these horrific tragedies. We pray for the families as they mourn the passing of their loved ones. We honor the dead in a moment of silence, but we will not be silenced. Let us spare the families the irony of a 21-gun salute. Spare them the empty sentiment of a folded American flag placed in a grieving mother's arms where her child used to be. Hashtag. There will be no 21-gun salutes trending in this poem. Hashtag.
There will be no folded American flags placed in a grieving mother's arms where a child should be. In this poem, our schools are a safe space for our children and our teachers. No barricades pressed against classroom doors are needed in this poem. No active shooter protocols are needed in this poem. No SWAT team on standby or teachers armed with guns are needed in this poem. In this poem is a gun-free zone for our children, where the hungry wrath of a sniper's bullet shall never pierce their tender skin, erasing their dreams and their futures. In this poem, we will heed the warning signs. No one is invisible. A child struggling with mental health shall not go unnoticed or unattended in this poem. A child being bullied or ostracized will not be tolerated in this poem. In this poem, no parent will ever have to worry about the safety of their child in our schools. There is no signs of death in this poem, no mass shootings in this poem, no bodies, no funerals, no ministers, no eulogies, no tears, no caskets, no tombstones, no graveside burials, no candlelight visuals, no moments of silence. We will not be silenced in this poem. In this poem, we will end gun violence. In this poem, Congress will place the safety of our children above the wishes of gun lobbyists. In this poem, teachers are teaching and children are learning. In this poem, children are playing, not hiding. Parents are smiling, not mourning. In this poem, love is trending. Joy is trending. Life is trending in this poem. And at 3 p.m., when the school bell rings, everyone goes home in this poem. Thank you so much.
All right, I called Mr. Richard West earlier, and I see he's arrived. Has he not? Richard, are you here? Okay, I guess he hasn't shown up yet. The late Mr. Richard West, yes. He's on musician's time. That's the way he runs his whole life. And I love him no matter what. Okay. Bobby Hieger, are you here? Yes, I can't miss you. You're smack dab in the center of the audience. All right, well, please do come up. And I hope there will be, I hope no more dissension, but if there is, we are a voice free from banning of anything here. This is Theater for the New City. Okay. All right, Bobby. Bobby, lifelong member of the Living Theater and an extraordinary talent, a gifted actor and poet. Bobby Hieger.
May I live up to that scintillating introduction? First and foremost, I would say that any people, any system that cannot endure honest critique has a problem. All right. This first one is a departure for me, my first venture into the form of sonnet. The early morning light. Concealed within the early morning light that leaves me in perplexed and weary state, an icy wind assails a path of blight to challenge acquiescence to my fate. Too late, awakened in this dank abyss, I must reverse the darkness, self-imposed, confront a demon I must now dismiss, emerge, renewed, and once again composed. A tender-footed venture to unknown reveals a field of purest joy untold. that quenches thirst I suffered once alone, allowing a new chapter to unfold. Arrived in earthly garden of delight, exhale in gratitude for bright daylight. This next one is actually going to be published in the yearly journal, Maintenant, which will be coming out, I believe, in July. It's called Econocomical. Economy? Economy, you say? Nothing economical about it. An affluent sleight of hand, Marie Antoinette's offer of cake. Shrill Benjamins goose-step down the street in their Sunday finest, as many can't afford to eat. Spread a buffet of ciphers to inebriate and enervated multitudes, lives spent pursuing a lie they cannot do other than swallow. Survival of the fattest wallet, dissent met with the guillotine. Compliance with president-bedecked paper meant to compensate lives lost to meaningless symbols that soon render the bearer comatose. Why not save a few trees? Release a few souls from paperweight? Why not? Trees are for lumber, paper, resources, commerce, commerce, industry. Where are your assets? Where do your asses set? Who cuts down the trees? Who clear cuts the forests? Here's a crazy thought. How about no dollars to swallow the soul, leaving an empty husk? How about lives where the main worry is how best to live with others? How about one person's triumph being a triumph for all? How about it? How about it? How about it? And finally, after all of this seriousness comes a short bout of frivolity. Frivolity, joyous romp, sated heart, rounds the corner of despair, does not look back, impulsively soars to the heights of fancy, vaulting over all obstacles in sight, open to the possibilities of moon-soaked night. Languid, yet ready to bound with zest to next feet, impressing lightness over ponderous woes, traversing chasms as though they were passages, yielding to the next delight. Thank you.
Oh, let's hear it for frivolity. I love it. Thank you, Bobby. Okay. Is Rochelle here? Okay. She also begged me to put her in there. John Sarno. I know he's here. Where'd he go? Right here. There. Okay. I'm losing my people. John Sarno, wonderful playwright, terrific writer, man of many streets. Every street he's ever lived in, he's got something to say about it, and a man of distinction. I love him. I had the honor of doing a reading of one of his poems, one of his plays earlier this year, The Golden Bulldog, and you can see the collage that I made for it out in the lobby. He's wonderful, and he's going to do something for us, I do hope. Mr. John Sarno.
Thank you, Lissa, for that intro. Appreciate it. These are some short monologues from old plays of mine that I wrote some time ago. I didn't serve in Vietnam. A number of my contemporaries did, including a member of my long-ago wedding party. This character, Isaac Vecchione, appears in my play, Lucy Leaves the Shore. By June of 1963, I discovered that Fort Amoy was too stiff and Ca Mau province was too scary. The Army made me a LERP, long-range reconnaissance patrol, but what I saw on those jungle walks just made me want to sing. Sinatra, Summer Wind, stuff like that. So I did. I sang a little too loud. Ring-a-ding-ding, suddenly I was a chauffeur. And on June 11th, I took my CO to Saigon. I was waiting by our car on Vandiep Street when the Buddhist monk sat down, lotus style, dumped a can of gasoline on himself and lit a match. You've probably seen the photograph. Helpless does not begin to describe what I felt while I watched him incinerate. Is a witness a guilty party? I don't want to know. But I already know. Because my soul got sick and the war got hotter. And nowadays, I don't even hum. This is Opaline Flynn. She is a character in my play that's very old and bounced around and around and around. It's entitled Casey Sleeps Alone. Lockfield's passions always ran willy-nilly. James Baldwin, the fire next time was gospel in our house. A photo of Paul Robeson sat on Lockfield's desk while he tried to master the spin move of Earl Monroe or the left hook of Sonny Liston. Other idols were John Coltrane, Frank Robinson, and always, always Sam Cooke. My son would rush, I mean hurry, to emulate them all, furious mimicry like a gale wind, and then suddenly the excitement was gone and he was bereft. Childlike would describe Lockfield Flynn, 25 going on 15 and then 30, passing for much younger. And finally, he decided to seek a career being someone else. He left this town and sought that western ocean. I stayed here, pretending everything was fine, that it was all good. Shit. There was nothing good about it. And then not long ago, I heard the echo of an old car with a bad muffler leaving La Brea Avenue and chugging east across the Mojave. Then wending up those peaks by Flagstaff, through the Panhandle, Amarillo, and across the prairie. 2,000 miles. His eyes, his heart, his moods and music high and low. Yes, I heard the sound of my son coming home. And I imagined, no, I shuddered. No, I softly smiled at the thought of him finally aged, because centuries of wisdom state that a voyage west drips the sweat of youth, but to shamble back east leaves all the lost time on one's face. Well, good. This mother's love says, let him get older. Let him grieve for youth. I want my boy to look like he's been somewhere. 50 years ago, some of us remember, many of us, I think, that an heiress from the West Coast was notoriously kidnapped and later recovered. She then was interviewed by a groundbreaking clinical psychologist who's actually at the center of my play called Kanoma, which is a Gnostic term meaning emptiness. Here I call the character speaking Tamara. First of all, I love the way he danced, your great villain, David Delahoy, the late blown to smithereens Delahoy. He moved to Santana, to black magic woman like some Aztec warrior. Hips, thighs, calves, crescendo, then diminuendo. His moves were the R&B of revolt, not rebellion. Big difference between revolution and rebellion, which you'd know if you'd read Camus. Then I saw Bill and Emily, cheek to cheek, hip to hip, Delahoy sliding between them, like slipping between the embers and the blaze, all of them combustible, lust arm in arm with murder, the dialectic enthralled to the backbeat with Carlos Santana as voiceover, Oye, como va? I fell in love with him that first night, Doctor. Even though I was bound and gagged, it was more alive, the lascivious footwork of that liberation army, than all the cash and garden parties I'd sloshed around in my whole life. And you know what was torture? Not being able to join them. sitting there against the closet door, the tear-stained heiress, boo-hoo-hoo. I was excluded from the fugitive dance, but not for long. And doctor, did you know, there is no word for the need that makes people dance ecstatically in groups. Nothing. Sociology, anthropology, linguistics, saints, and prophets have not come up with a coinage. I bet you didn't know that, and how would you? Stuck in this office, this cubbyhole, binging on clinical data. Me, I lived it. I lived it hard. The California frenzy, the end of possibility dance. Last one, this is Olivier Delon from my play C to Siobhan C. Forgive the, I'm not a singer. There's a little bit of tune making attempted here. Forgive me. Summertime, the boardwalk, Ocean Grove, Casino, Pavilion, Asbury Park, Atlantic Ocean. This scene is my, what you call, alpha and omega. Walt Whitman said that when he walked this shore, he found the rhythm for his great poem by listening to those waves. Me, I met May Riley in the tunnel right over there. We French kissed for an hour, and I told her a great love story gives a ragged soul some redemption. Of course, love sometimes swerves off the road. Crash, bam, the broken-hearted walk away with a limp. But the thing is, some chumps don't deserve the privilege of a broken heart. And that is what you call ironic. If you want to write that down, I'll say it again. Some chumps don't deserve the privilege of a broken heart, and that is what you call ironic. May says, I ought to bust out of this town, but I can see both ways down the road. One man wrote the ballot or the bullet, and the answer was rat-a-tat-tat. X marks where he fell. Another brother changed his name to Dick from Richie, and the Phillies let that slugger go. Said he swung too hard. Still, the soul train chugs on. Leave it to Beaver, meet Eldridge Cleaver. You know what I'm saying? Now May Riley's in the great big city, but I stand my ground right here. Because this is where me and May, we broke up hard. Not mean-spirited, just difficult because we lost things. Next morning, early a.m., I put the pedal down on my Pontiac, I-95, bound for Philly. And then this song comes on the radio. Maybe you know it. If you ever change your mind about leaving me behind, baby, bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it on home to me. Man, I lost it. I completely lost it. I had to pull off the road, compose myself. You know I'll always be your slave till I'm buried in my grave. Honey, bring it to me. Bring your sweet loving. Bring it on home to me. She doesn't know. May Riley does not and will never know just how much Oh, all right, tough guy. All right, now I'm going to get back on the road, and if Sam Cooke comes on the radio, I will switch it off. So I got back on the road, but what I did was turn the car around, pointed my Catalina at the sun, drove back to the shore. Yes, I did. My choice. I had no choice. Because all I understand is the sea. It's come hither, it's rebuke. And that's where I met May Riley, so back I go. Alpha and Omega, baby. Glory days.
I guess the third time's the charm. KOLM is to Richard West for the third time, and now it has finally arrived. Hello. The beat of my heart. My partner in life and art, fabulous playwright and composer and guitarist, and I love this man, Mr. Richard West.
Thank you all. I'm sorry I couldn't hear your poetry. I have a big show tonight, and I had to rehearse for it. I love to hear everybody's poetry because we combine on it. Poets. Yesterday we did a big one outside the street. Some of you were there, but I'm always trying to get new people every year too. Okay, so I figured 101. Gotta get that on. Okay, I don't know what to do for you. I know I have a dating sexual poem, which I think you probably would like. I have a political sex poem, satire, and okay, I'll start off with the first one. This one I want to dedicate to Gregory Corso, an old friend of mine. For obvious reasons, if you know his work, but anyway. So I invested in beauty. The beauty was caught up with its own council of style agents, surface images, and specious facades. So I did a fashion makeover for my mind, and I slipped away, which is when I met up with Miss Mindfulness, who was only too aware of my mindlessness, and she slipped away. So I persisted in intellectual types, but when I got involved with them, often they were broken by beauty's ghost. In an act of existential becomingness, I transcended the relation. So I invested in sophisticated personality who became too personal with everybody but me, so I am personally cut out. So I invested in creativity, but she betrayed herself in an act of greed for fame and fell for the illusion of charlatans. So I dropped back and let the passing facade pass by. So I invested in soulful, shamanistic, spiritual type, which was until misapprehension burst on the scene, disarming everybody's game plan with fun, which led to musical chairs of affairs and everyone got lost. So I reached out to a friendly talent, but she was always too busy rehearsing her act, which did not include me, so I made tracks there too. So I was going out of my mind and I invested in playfulness, but there was no one left to play with. So I invested in the stock markets instead, and I made a killing. And now all my dysfunctional girlfriends return to me. Now, this song I read with trepidation. I know you're filming this, and I don't give a damn because I lived long enough, but here goes. This is called, I wrote this with Lissa years ago. We called ourselves Chance Richards and Honeysuckle Crows because it wasn't any safer then than now. My rabbi done told me while tossing the dreidel, my rabbi one told me one for schnucker today. A schnucker. A woman's a hustler. Whether she's zaftig or svelte, she'll get all your geld. Oh boy, she'll make you pay, so I vey. Muhammad done told me while praying in knee pads, my imam done told me one skips all day. A woman's a sinner, so show her place and cover her face, or get the Jews in the night. My preacher done told me while beating his Bible that I would be liable to fall into hell. A woman's a Jezebel, a witch with a mean spell. She'll lead you astray and see that you pay your dues in the night. My guru done told me when I was in ashram, my guru done told me one shakaduka day, illusion's a woman, Maya's her name and she is to blame for your blue balls in the night. Now this was written in the 1990s. My pontiff done told me when he was a Nazi, my pontiff done told me a long time ago, the future's the future, your lady's a yid and you'll be sorry you did a Jew in the night. My rabbi done told me when we met in the mixer, your mama's a mitzvah, do your mama a mitzvah? One with sugar in a day. Stop stopping that shiksa. She's a practicing Catholic who won't use a prophylactic and you'll be singing the baby blues in the night.
Not even my mama can scold me. I don't care what they told me. I want a woman to hold me, to be my muse in the night. If it's Rome or it's Mecca, they dictate the pecker. They don't know the things, and they want us to sing the blues in the night. Can I make a thing? I have one I wrote with Allen Ginsberg when we worked on an anti-nuclear demonstration in 1978, which I organized at the UN. I'll read this. This is a fast one, and then I'll be gone. I have to rehearse again. Okay, so this one is called, Alan sent me this meditation song, said if you can fix it up. I got the original copy. If I have it printed, I'll put both copies up there so you can all see it, but here's how it goes. If you want to learn how to meditate, I tell you now because it's never too late. I tell you how I just can't wait. It's just that great that it's never too late. The first thing you do when you meditate, keep your spine and your backbone straight. Sit yourself down on a pillow or the ground, or sit in the chair if the ground isn't there. Follow your breath and open your eyes. Sit there steady and sit there wise. Follow your breath right out of your nose. Follow it out as far as it goes. Or close your eyes and focus your mind. Between your brows, let thoughts unwind. If you can't think straight and don't know who to call, it's never too late to do nothing at all. Do nothing at all, nothing to cling. Do the meditation, focus your being. Tune your mind when thought forms rise. Whatever you think, it's a big surprise. Thank you.
Trying to remember what we were on when we did that My Mama Done Told Me song. But I'm glad it's finally got out there in the world because we were always kind of trepidatious about doing it. Okay, well, Joni, I know she's here. Joni Fritz ZOSIKA, also a member of the Living Theater, an extraordinary woman and a fabulous poet and a wonderful actress with an operatic voice to boot. Miss Joni Fritz ZOSIKA.
Thank you, Lissa. You're most welcome. I can make a big introduction about you too, like that. And it would be so pithy. And I will, at some point in time. Someday. Okay. Give me a second, I'm sorry. I must collect myself, as it were. Okay. All right. This should be easy. Easy. Just gotta do something with this mic. Yeah. Look at all of you out there. All wanting to listen to poetry. Isn't that wonderful? It's really wonderful. I think so. Appreciate each other or even be mad at each other, you know. The common thing is about poetry. Am I being heard? Yeah. Can you hear me? Okay. This is I know it's Memorial Day weekend, but I can't celebrate war, even in retrospect. Of course, I do celebrate those who not celebrate. Well, I love them, and I'm sorry that they lost their lives in such a crazy way. But anyway, this is my memorial, actually about my mother, so that's my Memorial Day thing, and it's called Chin Hairs, a ditty. Mommy, I'm sprouting chin hairs. They've actually been here for some time. Remember how you cut Grandma's chin hairs? There's no one left but me to trim mine. Mommy, I've developed a age spots. Never thought it'd happen to me. Gosh, I hope that it's not melanoma. Guess I'll get me to a skin doctor and see. There's no one here to take me by the hand and walk me through these difficult scenes. If you were around, you'd accompany me and listen when I shared my dreams. I don't give a crap about the chin hairs, the age spots, or my bladder that leaks. It's the fact that you're not here to comfort me, because that's what my lonely heart seeks. I could deal with the blemishes and bothers, and the bladder, I could even live with that. It's just that your warm physical being is no longer here to keep my soul intact. Not here to comfort or console me, to cuddle, encourage, and hold me. I still need mommy's love to enfold me. And I don't mean in the abstract. So silly, so silly. And I'm going to just read one more. This is relatively new, so somewhat unvetted, but I make no apologies. Water and desert. Can't move away from the water, buffeted by both coasts, in love with that powerful motion of ocean. Felt it too on the Mediterranean Sea, the Adriatic, the Danube, Seine, Thames, Lake Chautauqua, even the mighty L.A. River. Water is always with me because I, Moonchild, am ruled by water. As water yearns toward the moon in a love dance, a dance of loons, bird children, fluffy animals, fluffy emojis hail from the other shore. But cold little icons can never represent anything living. This is a time of reality, brash reality, brutal reality, and there are yet so many beautiful things to see. Walk gently as you can, through ruined cities and minefields, unexploded ordnances and body parts. This was my house, a man in Gaza says. All that is left is the toilet. Shit death. A child discovers a cylindrical toy in the rubble. He runs to show Daddy. The toy explodes, as does the child. And as we dare, oh my God, hush up now. And as we dare to think, sorry, it's a bio thing. It's kind of a bio thing. And as we dare to think the unthinkable, gently think of fluffy bandages, cold medical equipment, alienating but necessary to restore rampant chaos to normality, if that is possible. When you live in a war theater, the curtain never comes down. Stuck in your seat, you still must pay and pay and pay. Our watery world lands in the desert with nothing to say about tomorrow. A passage of time and the cities transpose, their architecture reflecting another try, one more time to erect and build, carving beauty into the natural architecture of this place, our earth, tired but willing. Yes, darling, she says, rolling over again. Thank you.
Hey Pete, don't bother going up there. While you
I got my stuff.
Okay, get your stuff. In that case, I'll call Evan first and then you. Okay? I see Evan descending, so come on down and lay it on us. Evan is a man of the beach. He goes swimming when nobody else does, in the fall and the winter, when the rest of us are waiting for summer. He's a strong man. Evan.
There's nothing better than a winter swim. Nothing. I'd like to honor two incredible poets I was very, very lucky to have met in the mid-1960s while I was just a teenager. First with Jack Micheline, who validated my words on paper more importantly to me than my grade school teachers from age 11 on. And Jack cursed up a storm when I refused to read to his street crowd. I was too shy. But I did agree to meet him at the St. Mark's Church for an open mic. It was a new venue for poets. Jack was a catalyst in my life. Even the woman I married was because of him. He passed on in 1998 and he left this for us all. It's an excerpt. If I liberate myself, I liberate mankind. I seek brotherhood and sisterhood, love and kindness, and worship the light and the sun. Now is the time for the emergence of new voices. 3 months later, I met Donald Lev at an open mic at the Trinity Church, Avenue B, just around Christmas time. And amazed, he not only liked my poems, but he wanted to publish them. My father was pissed when he saw My Daddy the Moron published in a booklet form. A few years before his passing, and I want to tell you, the longevity did not run in Donald's family. He broke it. He went. He passed away in 2018. And a few years before he passed, he wrote a little poem that I fell in love with the minute I saw it, and I passed it around every so often when I do an open mic. He did a poem called The Jazz Poem. I am at the end of my rope, and I'm swinging. I love that piece. I love it. I truly am glad to be back amongst all of you. I've been away 4 months on a NASA mission sent to planet Mars. Due to my 50 years vegetarianism, they want me to help determine what the edibles were and what the non-edibles were. Man, it's boring up there. 2 moons, no women. Best thing is there's a blue sunset. That's cool. So I sat around doing nothing, wrote a chapbook called My Life on Mars Without a Car. And the first entry to that book is My Life on Mars Without a Car. I like eating fruits. And in my life, I've met fruits that liked eating me. I'd like to do a bit of a change up here. This is kind of new. Waiting upon a letter never written. Maybe the rose-colored eyeglasses don't work after all. Maybe I should have found her new address and knocked upon her door and said, "You're coming back home to me." Maybe. Maybe I could have just forgotten the whole thing. Putting the cards face down upon the table and recognized it was not just over, but that I was completely done with. Completely done with. And finally, maybe means more than what we give it credit for. There's a little one I'd like to do. I took a speed reading course in the 60s. It's all bullshit. You want to do 300 pages in 20 minutes, you don't get anything, really. And I was thinking about people that like to read porn books. And as a teenager, I liked those X-rated books. So after that one lesson, I wrote something, it was called Erotica Interruptus. He was a speed reader. He didn't have any time to masturbate.
Okay, we missed you, Evan. Glad you're back. Okay, from Mars. Yeah, so Pete Dolack. Well, I think you've gotten your stuff and come out and lay that stuff on us. You know, I'm sure you're all aware of Pete's work. He has this marvelous, sardonic sense of humor. I just love it. All right, Mr. Pete Dolack.
Thank you, Lisa. It's always an honor to be part of this festival. Star Trek isn't a documentary. If it were, the Vulcans wouldn't drop in to give us some advice, wouldn't want to join the Federation with us. They and the Andorians and the rest of the galaxy would place Earth under a quarantine. But even if warp drive were possible, we wouldn't invent it. Because plundering your planet until you regress to feudalism doesn't give you a future. Cancer isn't a future. Creating an economic system that can't be controlled until it converts all of Earth into short-term profit isn't logical, no matter what planet you call home. Forced inland by rising seas, abandoning cities that can't be fed and dying from the heat, not able to drink the water, our descendants are not likely to think the profits a handful extracted at any cost was a good trade-off for them. Cancer is bad for people. It's no better for a planet. There's no capitalism in Star Trek. Otherwise, there would be no future. I see you've been, 9/11 has been coming up a bit today. I don't actually have a poem about that, but I was actually involved in the first demonstration after 9/11, the first Friday after. About 30 of us, we dressed in all black, and we had placards, black placards, with white lettering saying, "Our grief is not a cry for war." We went to Times Square and just held hands and stayed silent for an hour at rush hour in the evening. So frankly, I thought we were going to get attacked because, of course, the Bush-Cheney gang had so whipped up thing. But to my pleasant surprise, there was only one person who insulted us. Otherwise, everybody kept cheering and applauding us for it. So it really goes to show people can keep their mind and think for themselves. That was a nice thing to have happen. All right, back to the poetry. We all live inside a giant vegetable. Well, that's what the physicists say. Okay, maybe only a couple of physicists say this, but it could explain some things. The universe began as a vegetable, pea to be exact. Well, sort of. I mean, think about it. Did you ever eat peas willingly? Yeah. Nobody likes peas. They're really nasty vegetables. People pretend to hate broccoli and spinach. It was even trendy for a while to hate broccoli, but lots of folks eat broccoli and spinach. Lots of us even like them. But when there's a choice, did you ever hear anybody cry out, "Give me the peas"? No, I didn't think so. Nasty tasting and not very attractive either. So what's this got to do with the universe, you're asking? Just that. If the universe started out from something so nasty, no wonder it's such a mess. We're all inside an exploded pea and all that nastiness everywhere. It's got to get to us. Okay, some of you are wondering by now, just what are these physicists smoking? Well, look, the Big Bang had to bang out of something, right? At the beginning, there had to be something, a point.
What's going on out there? Would somebody shut
point.
off whatever you're doing? That's not.
I'm sorry.
Very sorry.
We're sorry, you're sorry too.
Roll it back a little and do that again.
A really tiny, really
Where's
dense
that remote?
point. a really tiny tense point that looked something like the pea. Says this theory that it exploded and expanded and here we are, inside a giant vegetable. But why did it have to be a pea? What if the universe began as a lima bean? The universe would be really bland. And all-enveloping dullness would stifle everything, and Cape May would be the center of the universe. You get dizzy living in Atlantic City, 35 miles from the center of the universe, whipping around Cape May so fast, the sand would be thrown off the beaches, creating permanent dust storms. They never built the casinos there. Nah, good thing the universe isn't a lima bean. The universe should have started as corn. Who doesn't like corn on the cob in the summer? Corn is a fun vegetable. And think of how different Earth would look. All the trees and plants would be yellow instead of green. It'd be like autumn all the time. Maybe all the dumpsters would be painted yellow instead of that awful green, so our streets would look better too. Everybody would be much happier. Corn is so much nicer than peas. It couldn't help but make the universe a nicer place. More advanced civilizations would travel dozens of light years to share technology with emerging civilizations. Instead, they probably have this solar system under block. Can't say I blame them, even if living inside a giant pea makes them cranky. This is all starting to make sense. You usually are served peas with mashed potatoes, right? Look up at the Milky Way one night. Well, when you're not in New York, you can actually see it. It looks something like diluted mashed potatoes, doesn't it? Maybe the Milky Way is a remnant of the dinner that led to the birth of our universe out of some other universe 14 or so billion years ago. Some kid didn't want to eat his peas. Before his mother could nag him some more, one of those peas suddenly disappeared from his plate. Good boy, keep eating, she said. Unaware that pea dropped out of her universe and began his own universe in an unimaginably ferocious Big Bang. Think about that next time someone plops a plate of peas in front of you. Each of those awful tasting green orbs is a potential universe just waiting to drop out of this one and begin its own. Who knows what fantastic civilizations will not be born because that pea went down the gullet. I, for one, do not want that responsibility. No, push away that plate of peas. You would never have been born if that child billions of years ago had hastened to eat his peas. Why don't you do the same for the next universe?
I like peas. Oh my goodness. The Jolly Green Giant is going into mourning. I like peas. Is Madeline Artenberg here? Madeline. Okay. She's a wonderful poet. How you doing? And her poetry is always moving. Fine. It always grabs you in your heart. And I hope you lend your ears to Ms. Madeline Artenberg.
Hello, everyone. Can you hear me? Yeah. I'm reading from Naming a Hurricane. What I did want to tell you is that in 1992, I was a photojournalist. I went to New York Poets Cafe expecting music, and there was something called a poetry slam. And I'm sitting there, and something forces itself out of me. And my girlfriend threw me on stage, and this is what I read. The poet. He said he'd read from the best in his collection. My pulsing prick, her twat, my hot rod, I fucked that cunt, that bitch is fucking cunt. He read another, and the cunts piled higher as he flung each one at the audience until he got his poetical rocks off. My ex-husband sure missed his calling. He said those very same words to me. At the time, I didn't know it was poetry. I'm writing now 32 years. After that, there was a teacher in the audience, Denise Duhamel, and she said, You don't stop. Join my class at Writer's Voice. I sold my cameras the next week, and I've been writing ever since. So my book is 30 years of my poetry. This is Queen of the Late Bloomers. She lies casketed in bed, trembling with demands. The nurses approach with cereal. Every day she asks for cream of wheat, then insists she didn't. The daughters arrive, her barks spin them away. As a girl, she'd sought attention at the piano, yet through time she had dialed us all, except for a pale man in a black suit, now waiting at the end of the bed. He looks at her as if she were his ingenue, on his feet patent leather shoes, his hand extended decidedly toward her. She brushes a dry wisp from her forehead. Giddy as a girl on the high end of a seesaw, she summons her daughters, allows the powdering rouging. Her breath comes rapidly. The man in black floats closer to take her hand. The daughters recall years mother would forbid dancing. Now she waltzes onto the patio past the late blooms.
Lois, are you out there? Lois, Hagen, Mingus, yet another member of the Living Theater, and many, many other theaters where she can be seen, always alive and always marvelous. And we love her here. And she's stepping over numerous bodies and making her way up to the stage. Here she comes, Lois Hagen. Yes! Thank you. Tom Walker, who recently passed away, was a Living Theater actor, archivist, humanist, and my friend and fellow New Englander. Tom Walker. He emailed, quote, "Now for the long home," mistakenly leaving out the word flight. Or was it intentional? He is on the long home now. Maybe he knew, but I don't think so. He had enough future plans to fill many lifetimes. You know, I love you, Tom. Your secrets, your suggestions, your gossip, all inside my brain forever. I will be ashes and still know you. The metaphor. This person, a worker, gave him 100 pennies, and that person, a CEO, gave him a $1 bill for it. Then this person found out one of the pennies was the 1944 steel wheat penny worth $408,000, so this person asked for the 100 pennies back in exchange for the $1 bill. That person said no. So this person said, "I'll fight you for it." And that person responded with a declaration of war. And then those people woke up and realized that monetarily corporalized war never ends. Strange bedfellows. Strange bedfellows, not so strange and not just fellows, share the mattress and feed each other greed and power, cuddling and making promises that kill countries. Interrupt this perverse lovemaking and get them off those sheets. Self-cross-examination. At birth, does the mind already know the difference between good and evil? At birth, does the body already know that war is bad? When we understand money, does it change us? When we understand manipulation, does it change us? How is it we can marry war, money, and manipulation? How is it we cannot find a way to divorce them? Verifying you are human.
Excuse me, sentient being, it seems you have strayed. It was not meant for you to kill children in a raid. The purpose of money was to prosper and share, not to buy weapons to strip countries bare. Your corporate agenda now supports war, and financing it led to blood and gore. Excuse me, sentient being, but you need to know the world you've created has got to go. And finally, high, cool haiku. Rocky Road ice cream. It soothes my soul in these times. Ironically named.
How about Matthew Cooper? Wait.
How about him? All right, I will take that suggestion, and I'll call Matthew Hubert up to the podium.
Thank you, Val.
It's always good to have a friend in high places.
Who knew people would advocate for me?
That's marvelous. All right, Matthew. You were coming up anyway, quite frankly.
I wasn't. I often do a lot of political stuff when I'm here, but I think we all have a steady diet of outrage, and that doesn't really help. I mean, we've got rising anti-Semitism and rising fascism and toxic capitalism. So I'm going to be personal instead today. This one's for all the poets in the room. It's called Auteur. Don't get confused by the muse. She never gave you a thing, and at such a high price. She's an abusive lover, flim-flamming the hand cramps and midnight burn the way a shady promoter pays you in exposure. Don't stress yourselves. I've been writing a lot of really super short shit lately, so I have a bunch of them on this page. I'm just going to quickly run through them. Truth is the bastard stepchild of poetry and physics played to the tom-tom heart of everything in spiral. A glass-bottom world in a crowded, hazy bar. Poetry reading. This one's called Roadmap. I used to love the faraway look in your eyes. I didn't know you were going to follow it out the door. This one is weird. Seeking, or the ultimate mystery of life, or how to human. The big secret is, it's not a secret. The sun reprise, cold shadow on a summer day, an unexpected kiss. I'm yours for a song, if the song is well sung. I'm easy, not cheap. This is called Blackbeard Ashore. Been lots of places and seen some shit. Did some shit in lots of places. Traced 100 hips under the same moon in lots of places, and every one of them was beautiful. Watched sunrise over Shangri-La, swam with fish, firefly bright, in midnight black Andaman seas, seen some shit. Saw Burmese and Germans in tides of transition, loved sleepy beaches where time stood still, been lots of places. Seen some shit, been lots of places, but the furthest I've ever been from home was alone in a house built for two. I don't want to end on something sad, so this is an older one, but it cracks me up. It's a rare bit of hip-hop poetry from me called Middle East Side. And those of you who speak Yiddish or Hebrew will get more of the jokes. Yofi, let me buy you some coffee, or kiss you even better, because it makes me feel besetter, like a varsity letter on a blue and white sweater from Hebrew University. When you fresh my banana, it's just like Rosh Hashanah. Yeah, head of the year, like Primo red lead gear, or Keith from Morocco, psychotic Scirocco, blowing down my spine and blowing my mind.
Good thing I'm circumcised, because you know I'm supersized. And I don't need no tray of cheese, Hebrew national to my knees. You know this kosher meal gonna make you moan and squeal like a hazer in a sty. So don't be toying with undersized goyim who don't know what to do, like Snoop Jewy Jew.
Thank you all for listening.
Ah, yes, Zachenweh, yes indeed. That was fun. Okay. Austin Alexis, please. We've all heard some wonderful things over the years from Austin. We know he's dipping his toes to become a playwright as well. So, carrying the theme of the evening, he will, I'm sure, bringing something to the stage as far as that goes, but it's poetry today. Austin Alexis.
Thank you, Lissa. This first poem is actually inspired by a play that was performed here at Theater for the New City that Lissa directed, The Boy Who Listened to Paintings. By my good friend, Dean Castros. Bullying. After school, or during lunch breaks, or even in study halls, the bully lunges his hate toward the vulnerable who are not weak, but merely unprotected, as light bulb heated glass kills defenseless gnats, so bullies spring forth like predatory rays. Homicide of the flesh is beyond them. They lack the courage and the finesse for that. But they are skilled in the task of murdering fragile spirits, minding their business, walking home after school. And I'm an East Villager. I live in the East Village, as some of you do. And you know how we have these apartments with window shafts? The space between buildings, well, this was inspired by that. And the title is part of the first line. Window shaft, gathering shadows. Swallows litter, squats in a beige gray soup of heated, heavy oxygen. Not a place, but a lusterless state of mind. It excuses funky odors, pigeons having semi-public sex, socks and thongs dangling as they dry, prone on windowsills. An oblong thought stooping down, sympathetic to suicide, it forgives the space for being meager, for being too lazy for beauty, for retaining scanty, diminished air, for discriminating against sufficient sunlight. And this one is about something we all dread, or most of us, I think, will dread come November. I hope it's not true. Election night. He won, and George Floyd gagged in his grave. He won and dragged out ready-to-use cages. He won and oil rings discharged into the Mississippi. He won and scorched the soil, the hills, the sacred earth. He won, wounding the wounds of women. He won, and rainbows faded from the sky. He won, and democracy jumped off a high cliff, or maybe he shoved it and pretended the death was accidental, though the homicide glared blindingly like TV screens on election night. And finally, one more short one. Gratitude. Thank you, stranger, for making my day with your flirty smile. Many thanks to busy flies for buzzing me away. I'm grateful to Ibsen for ramming truth into my mind, even when I don't think I want it. The way intrusive characters drop by uninvited in his plays and end up being needed. Thanks to the deer for adorning the woods during many months when I'm not there. Thanks to the oceans for delivering shiploads of people to dry shores of humpy sand safe from engulfing waves. Much love and thanks to the sun for keeping us all simmering on the stove and front burner of life. Thank you.
David Huberman in the house?
Of course.
Yes, he is. Right up front. All right. Mr. David Huberman.
Give it up for him as he makes his way.
What time is it now?
Your time. 10 to 7.
Yeah, I would be coming back from my dinner in Thailand right now, Sunday, right? Yeah. I would get for $5 a cup of tea, 5 different vegetables, including peas, cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, and cabbage, plus baked chicken, and 2 either big mashed potatoes or 2 roasted potatoes. And that came with a cup of tea. $5. And that's my life over there in Thailand on a Sunday. I would be with the expats. I would be the only Jewish person there. It would be an English guy, an Irish guy. We would have a Muslim guy. We would have maybe an Italian guy with us. And we never spoke politics. Because we're all living, as one guy, expat told me, we're living in the bubble. And politics we don't talk about outside Thailand. We all talk about Thailand politics because it affects us. So I just wanted to go into that for a second. I'm going to read a piece. It's a prose piece. I'm only going to read maybe a page or 2. You guys will let me know when to stop. And I'm writing this book. It's my memoir stories when I was in my 20s, and I was a drug addict then. But I met all these great celebrities, but it was all about drugs for me. So this is called Hanging with Duran Duran. There I was in 1982 at the Peppermint Lounge on 15th Street in New York City. I was catching the band A Flock of Seagulls. Good band music-wise. They were coming to the end of their set, and I was sitting in the back of the club next to a group of very attractive people. Maybe about 7 of them. They seemed to be around my age, in their 20s. Yet they were highly clean cut. The guys looked like male models, the type I fantasized belonging on expensive yachts. These young men were all dressed in tailored white outfits, while the women were tall, dirty blondes with gorgeous tan legs that went on for miles. Their hair was done up in the way all the beautiful people had in the 80s. In contrast, 1982 was not a good year for me. I was doing plenty of angel dust and copping spitbacks from the methadone addicts that year. With my unkept hair and torn, dirty jacket, I was lucky the bouncers had even let me into the club, looking like a Jewish version of Ratso Rizzo from the classic 1969 movie, Midnight Cowboy. I sat myself down with the elegant crowd. They were friendly, with British gestures and happy, obnoxious faces. Then in the back of the club, the cream la cream, packed, started doing lines of blow. They offered me some, and of course I was happy to oblige. Bluish lines of very good cocaine were going right up my nose. I started getting a little nervous that the club bouncers might notice us, but nobody bothered us. True, the alluring women were sort of blocking the view of the action. Nevertheless, the nightclubs had decent video cameras even back then. Still, not a single person came by. I was pretty startled that they had turned me on. I was even more surprised they wanted to have a conversation with me. Meanwhile, a flock of seagulls were playing their last song, an encore dedicated to the band Duran Duran. Wow, I said. I wonder why they're doing a song to Duran Duran. Oh, one of them replied, that's because of us. I looked up at them and shockingly realized my newfound friends were the band Duran Duran. And there I was with their stunning girlfriends. It dawned on me at that moment that I had to be really high. They had to be really high to have accepted my company. What an elegant party they were. A flock of seagulls had finished their gig and the music crowd was getting restless. One of the band members asked me if I was a native New Yorker, and I replied, yes, I am. Then another gentleman from the elegant circle asked me if I liked punk music. The whole band looked alike to me with their fashionable thin white and black jackets and their sweet British accents. At this point, I felt like a Morlock being asked for directions by some Eli from the old movie The Time Machine. That's how bad I felt about myself hanging with them. However, they seemed not to notice my shabbiness. I answered them, yes, I'm a big fan of punk rock. Great, they said. Do you know where Max's Kansas City is? We want to see these chaps, Johnny Thunder and the Heartbreakers. I smiled at that and replied, look, if you guys would wait for me outside for just a few minutes, I'll walk you over to Max's. I know for a fact the Heartbreakers are going to go on. They're not going to go on until at least midnight with their habits and such. Even with my untidy appearance, I still had my vanity and my mixed up pride in my appearance. I immediately went inside the Peppermint Lounge bathroom and put on a little dash of cheap men's cologne I had probably picked up at the Thieves Market in Alphabet City. The little plastic package that contained the pretty liquid was probably a sample of some budget-friendly scent. In spite of that, well, now I smell good, even if I was not at the top of my game. Sometimes a little confidence can go a long way. And let's face it, I was lucky. My stylish newfound crew was waiting for me. And straight away I said, no need of a cab. We're only 5 or 6 blocks away. The new Peppermint Lounge was at 105th Avenue, and Max's Kansas City was at 18th Street and Park Avenue. We started on our way, and I made sure to navigate around Union Square Park, which back in the 1980s was a very dangerous place, full of junkies and desperate street criminals like myself. My newfound friends were so delighted with me, they surrounded me as we were walking, would stop me every once in a while to give me a snort or two. Meanwhile, their gorgeous women friends were sort of playing with my long, curly, dark hair. I don't think they ever experienced meeting a young, hip Jewish guy before. The truth of the matter was they were all very nice, not stuck-up rock stars with their beautiful model girlfriends. Well, their hot girlfriends may have been models, but they weren't arrogant assholes the way I had always thought they were when I saw them on MTV back in the day. Finally, after a few slight streetwise obstacles, I had got them to Max's. The huge white bouncer, who was a daunting Taran torpedo, looked at me with troubling eyes. I couldn't blame him for giving me that look. A few weeks before, he had to drag me away from harassing Andy Warhol, who had been outside Max's waiting for Allen Ginsberg, the famous New York City poet. Unfortunately, at that time, I was experiencing the effects of angel dust, wipeout. So I wasn't the most popular person to be around Max's Kansas City that night or any other night. But I was on my game that evening. And I was sure the stars and constellations were in my favor. I talked fast and loud. I said, hi. These guys, these friends of mine from England are the famous MTV Tim MTV band, Duran Duran, and they're here to see Johnny Thunder and the Heartbreakers. The huge sky-high sentry looked shocked. Before he could say anything, the owner, Tommy Dean, appeared right behind them. And right on cue, he said, yes, of course, come with me, guys. I'll escort you and your group right upstairs, smiling with delight with his 50-style hairdo and his little mustache. I could see it in his face, the photo ops, the publicity. He was dreaming up with this fantastic opportunity. Before my guided tour of rock stars left me, I said very quietly to them, wow, your beautiful English Britons are the best. I'm sure Johnny's going to have an amazing show tonight with you great musicians being in the audience. I'll see you guys later. I have a few things I have to take care of.
I think that's great.
Oh, I'm almost and as I was about to shuffle away, one of the Duran dudes, like I said, they all looked alike to me, gave me an envelope. When I got outside, I opened it up, and in it was quite a nice amount of bluish cocaine. What a great night!
All right. Sorry, I almost stopped you before you got that blow. That would have been that was very mean of me indeed. You said stop me before I kill again. Okay, let's see. Who do we have? Is Lorraine Shine in the audience? All right, Ms. Shine. I didn't know her work until she had joined us at one of my Live Poet Society gatherings, and she was quite wonderful, and so I wanted to have her back again. Let's hope she can get out of there without injury. Watch your step on the lip of the stage. Okay. Fabulous Lorraine Shine.
I'm going to read from my book, The Lady Anarchist Cafe. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
This is about old stores in the East Village that are no longer there. And some of you may recognize them. The East Village, 1985. Under a broken china sky reflecting the street, the East Village whirs like a gargoyle mécanique, flows like a lava lamp erupting its slow purple blobs, tempts like St. Mark's spreads of clothes that were robbed, cries like a hell's angel with torn off wings, gleams like the silver in a poet's nose rings, protests like an anarchist in love with a government clerk. Will love save the day? Will he have to work? The village clouds tick like a bomb overhead. A tenement gets ready to explode all its beds. As I walk by plotting my 11th Street ruse, a man rides by on a bike with a goose. He wears a coolie hat. The goose sits in a green crate. Perhaps next I'll see a rabbit saying he is late. Buy a red candle for love from a 9th Street witch, a purple one for dreams, a green one to get rich. She'll read your future in the cards with scrying crystal eyes, and in the store's back garden, do the flower fairies fly? Love saves the day. So do kitschy 50s wearables, but art saves the night and makes mornings more bearable. Basic black. In the East Village, the punks wear black. The rockers and mods before them wore black. The beats before them wore black. And the rabbis before them wore black. Black is the color of abject conformity. Okay, this is about a part of Queens that maybe not everyone here knows. Main Street, Flushing. Bubble tea, 2 for $1. Here everyone rushes to catch their buses. If over you are run, you'll be dim sum. And since this is Memorial Day, I will read a short memorial to someone who is no longer here. Keith in 3 places, 2 of which are no longer there. I first met Keith Haring at PS 122, an old school that had been converted into an artist space in the East Village. I remember how it felt walking through the streets filled with sunlight that seemed to open out into all the possibilities of art, chance, and my future. It was a bad neighborhood then, and parts were dangerous, but the rents were low. Keith was having his first art exhibit there, or one of the first. The large room with tall school windows was filled with his big black and white drawings on poster board of big babies, aliens, and dancing figures. He was skinny, bespectacled, and friendly. I wasn't sure what to make of his art, but I liked his flying saucers. I was still doing art then and had taken a few evening courses at the School of Visual Arts. One was a class in commercial art in which I learned that I couldn't draw a straight line with a T-square. The other was cartooning, and that went better. I even managed to sell one cartoon to a gay magazine called Christopher Street. Keith had attended SVA full-time but dropped out, which just goes to show you. Anyhow, I had brought some of my art with me in my portfolio and showed him some of my prints and drawings. Keith said he liked them because they looked raw. He offered to swap one of his posters from the show with one of my posters. So we did like artists and writers always do. Then he told me he would like to put it in an art show he was curating at Club 57. The club was downstairs under street level in a basement at 57 St. Mark's. Or did I first meet him at the Club 57 art show, and then he invited me to his show at PS 122? It's hard to remember. I also saw him once at the Mud Club in the days when I still went to clubs. It was up the hill from Canal on White Street in a loft building, up a steep flight of stairs. Keith wasn't dancing. He was sitting at a table in the front, and I said hello. There was an art exhibit there. I think once you get older, you stop going to clubs because you found your crowd by then, and maybe someone to love, if you're lucky. And you don't need to stay out late to look, or have the energy to. He was just an acquaintance I swapped art with once. I never got to know him well, because then he was gone. And once he visited me at the law office where I temped, and did some drawings on a tiny Chinese paper fold-out book I showed him. But that was not at a famous place, so it doesn't count. Don't only the famous count? Thank you.
You have those little squiggles he made in that book, Lorraine? Because they're going to be worth a lot.
I do.
Yeah, well, I'll see you on the Antiques Roadshow any day now. Ernest K. Woodley, are you here? Please come up and do your thing. Ernest is a great, besides being a poet, a great lover of the arts, and very nurturing, and comes to see a lot of what we do. So, please, if you're leaving, leave. If not, sit yourself down and listen to Ernest do his thing. Come on down, Ernest. Thank you.
Good evening, folks. Hope you continue to enjoy yourselves.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. The first poem I'm going to read is entitled Mid-Mayday. Mayday, Mayday. No, I'm not in a plane that's getting ready to crash. I'm not on a boat with no motor floating aimlessly in the Atlantic Ocean. Excuse me. This isn't an SOS distress call. This is a Mayday call. On a rainy Wednesday morning, call for people protesting, rights for Palestinian people, minimum wage, medical benefits, calls of protesting for other causes. Let's continue to shout, Mid-Mayday, Mid-Mayday. Read one more. This is entitled, I call this one Pens and Me. Through the years, I've used many pens to write the words that people want to read, to recite the words people want to hear. When I find a pen that writes and hasn't run out of ink, I create poems and stories. My creations grab people's attention, make some say, hey, this guy's a damn good writer. As I live on, there will be many more pens to love. When I love them, I create. Barry Manilow may write the songs. However, if I don't lose my pen or my pen doesn't run out of ink, I write the poems and stories. Thank you. Enjoy the weekend.
Did notice that Rochelle came in late. Do you want to do something for us, dear?
Either me or you.
I'm sorry? You want me to?
Yeah, you.
Okay. Will do.
I hope I wrote it big enough.
Let's hope so. Ah. All right. This is going to be an ice cold reading. I've never seen this before, but I'm going to try to give it all it's worth. It's called Letter to a Stranger. At first we were friends, easy conversation, an intelligent man and gentleman. Then you started to advise me, brotherly, fatherly. I knew you were right. I could recognize the value of what you said. So I followed you down into the basement of your brain. Then you turned into a thug. Using language I'd never heard before, shamelessly describing your wants. I wouldn't stop you as your words shocked me. I was transfixed. I could not stop you, get up, and walk away. I could not understand your actions, sexual innuendo, and explicit sex statements. Could this be your subtle way of coming on to me? Not subtle at all, but I could not believe it. Then I started to feel things on the inside that I never felt before. You made me so aware of you. Know a man that I became more, I can't read this, man that I became more aware of myself as a woman. My insides were becoming magnetized by your smile. I started to think of you more.
More and more.
I started to think of you more and more. I started to think of you more and more and more. You brightened my day. You lit my imagination to awkward romance. Was it all a game? How did you manage to come through the back door of my psyche, tearing a cat?
Tearing away resistance.
You should have done this yourself, my dear. Tearing a what?
Tearing away resistance to you.
Tearing away resistance to you. You became my Houdini, recognizing, I guess.
Reckoning.
Reckoning. Oh, misspelled too. Oh, the teacher in me is coming out, sorry. Dark night of the sword? Soul. Dark night of the soul. When I tried to find out how you felt about me, what you meant by the sex talk. You said you had no memory of it. You stopped my track. I could not ask anything at all. You said I like you as a person and that you had been shut down many times, didn't get to this point by myself. Why did you do it? Reel me in like a fish caught in your net. Show me that you could read my mind. How unkind to play this game, to set me up and not deliver cruel and not deliver cruel. Sorry about that, it was handwriting and I did all I could. But I think you got the gist, I hope you did. All right, Anthony Cedeno, are you here? No? Is there anyone who, I think I've called everyone who was supposed to be, is there anyone I missed? Because I usually, you know, the puff of white smoke is not coming up for me anytime soon. Is there anyone here who would like to do something for us?
I'd like to.
Hands. The lady in the blue floral, and then we'll follow by the lady in the blue with the marvelous afro. Okay. And what is your name?
Lady in the blue is named Helen.
Lady in the floral blue, what is your name?
Oh, hi, how are you?
Okay, hi.
My name is Helen Peterson.
Helen Peterson, ladies and gentlemen. Let's hear it. Wake us up. Although, where are we? We are.
Okay, it will be my pleasure.
We are welcome. Welcome us some more.
Thank you very much. I'm so, I appreciate your giving me this opportunity. It's been so inspiring to hear the wonderful poets here. I wasn't planning to do this, but I have some numbers that I've memorized, so I usually do perform with castanets. I'm a Cuban-American performance poet. Yeah, and I'm going to be performing with castanets and incorporating my background as a professional flamenco dancer on June 4th. That's 8 o'clock at the book club. Okay, I'm going to start with a poem that was inspired by my having a poetry salon to help the poets dig down deep and bring out the music and the meaning. Excavation. It's the skeleton of a poem that pipes and whistles as it sings, bony fingers and toes keeping time, rattling rhythms. It's the skeleton of a poem that stands up straight, backbone brace, to declare its purpose. The skeleton of a poem will be excavated when fleshy words have been eaten and spit out like pits. The skeleton of a poem embraces a life-filled bagpipe ribs rising and falling to the breath of song. Ah, some ahs. Easy, ease. Oh, to oh. Ooh, to ooh. So give me the skeleton of a paw, and I will fill it with such breath as to make hollowed bones play the melody of my mood. The flight of the flute, the obbligato of the oboe, the clarity of a clarinet, the triumph of a trumpet, the soul of a saxophone, the bellowing basso of a bassoon, the skeleton of a palm conducts a symphony of sound, releasing Kate's words to sing. To fly. Thank you.
Oh, Les, thank you.
One more?
All right, got yours. Another one?
Yes, thank you. My mother met my father in Panama when she was on tour as a dancer. She wanted me to be born in her homeland, Cuba. Second chance. When we went to visit Grandma, Abuela Maria, in La Habana, had you left Bobby? Mommy, he wasn't there. When we reached the top of the stairs, I was only 3. Where were you, Mommy? You weren't holding my hand. When I slipped, tumbled, grasped the crystal angel, it shattered, carving staircase edges in my wrist. Your hand became a tourniquet. When I left a trail of blood to 3 Havana hospitals, they said, no, aquí no podemos tratarla, es muy joven. No, we cannot treat her here, she's too young. But not too young to die, you said. When I cried, Papi, Papi, at La Clínica for Children, Papi came from Panama for keeps. My stitches pulled us back together. Thank you.
Muchas gracias, thank you. All right. There was one, there you are. Come on up. Wait, all right. What was you? Sorry. By all means. Hi there. You are Karen Conlon. Let's hear what you got to say.
I've attended a lot of performances here, but this is my debut actual performance. I've been writing poetry, I don't know, so long. I can't remember how
Closer
many
to the
years.
mic, honey, we're not hearing you.
I remember writing so many poems for so many years, I can't remember how many I've written. Can everybody hear me?
No. Yes, you can now.
Turn the mic down a little bit. There you go. All right? Now?
Perfect. Very good.
This is my interpretation of romance. I have two poems I'd like to read. When lovers meet. Power failure, black as the night, so no one can see, but our eyes still meet in the dark. We glide together, radar-guided bats. While electric sparks fly, we dance together, a blend of motion, ebb and flow, waves on the beach, rhythm of the universe. Music envelops us in ecstasy. The crowd just melts away. and leaves us as one, beating, beating, beating in the rhythm of the universe, the heartbeat of life. And the other one is Sonnet of Sadness. When I look at you, I know we are in love. Mutual adoration shines from our eyes with the delicate softness of a snow-white dove. You clasp tiny ring fingers to your bosom and sigh. We walk together hand in hand, talk, laugh, and share silent serenity. Our love is richer than the most fertile land, and our closeness will last for eternity. Where are you? I see you not now. I turn for an instant and you were not there. With such an ideal love, why or how could you show such coldness as if you did not care? I'll never give my heart freely or suffer such pain or ever allow myself to fall in love again.
Very nice. Do not give up on love. And did you want to do something? Great. Watch your step. Coming up. There you go. All right. You are Arlene. All right, everybody. Arlene, just like Cher, one name. Arlene. Cassarino. Okay. Let's get that door closed.
These are both, if it's okay, I'll do not too long poems. They're both about 20 years old, but I think they're still timely. Can you hear me? Because I'm afraid of mics.
Oh, don't care.
Okay, this is called Justice Isn't Really Blind. Everybody knows the statue plays Justice. She's got the blindfold on. She's holding the scale. Is everybody with me? Yep. All right. After some long heated debates, I said to Justice, I feel your passion. See where you're coming from. Respect what you stand for. But being blind seems to stand in your way. She laughed so hard, the scales tipped, turning the table her way. And as she peeked from under her blindfold, she said she wouldn't have it any other way. If she saw all that we saw, she'd go mad before she finished her day. Then she spoke of getting earplugs as she turned her back and walked away. This is called Speaking of Heavenly Bodies.
Oh, calm down, honey. You're okay. You're amongst friends. We all love you. Now just...
Said you could go first.
No, chill out. You're doing fine. You're doing... Justice is fine, but we are not. Go for it.
Okay. Speaking of heavenly bodies, it's hard to be part of the Milky Way when you're lactose intolerant. And every shooting star hits your heart. So a black hole develops. To measure progress by the distance made from our last revolution, when we know freedom is weak, when it only rings, it resounds a big bang with evolution. But no matter how dark the matter, or negative the energy, we must all maintain our place in this polyverse of space.
All right. We have one last wonderful poet coming up to the podium. Thank you, Arlene. Oh, you got, someone else wants to go?
Right here.
And a kind of side.
Right here. I've been filming the whole thing.
Who else? You want to go?
Yeah.
Okay, absolutely. Come on, and no one else? Am I good? Or- 'cause
I'm
I
right
like to
here.
make sure
I'm right here in
everyone-
front of you.
You want to go?
Yes, definitely.
All right, 3 more. I never like to turn a poet down.
I've just been
That
videoing the
is
whole
not,
thing.
you know, that's
I've
not
just
a
been here
mitzvah.
videoing.
I will not turn a poet down.
And you're going to take the mic from me.
I know, it's just a one-liner.
Okay. I won't say no. Can't.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jacqueline Annette, and I
host a reading, so if anybody's interested. The next one is a pre-Juneteenth celebration. We have food and drink and all sorts of other madness. So if you're interested, I've got flyers. In the meantime, one or two poems. You who called me unromantic, you who couldn't even hold me after we had shared, who skulked off to lay in a separate space, who left me to bathe a pain-filled face, you made of our meeting the fast food it need not have been. So, in return, I made of you my fast food, a morning class, an evening job, and you sandwiched between the two. And I would leave you to the vastness of your solitude, as you had left me to mine. We meet people at different phases in their lives, and we don't know what path they have walked on, but sometimes it becomes obvious. So this one is called Old Hungers. Old hungers lingering on from some time 30 years before we met. Some long ago hurt perceived requiring sound. Some boo-boo you bring to me, kiss my boo-boo. Some mother's breast denied, some comfort unextended, some unkind word or wicked glance at a little boy left too long in the playground, who came home crying, who cried alone in the darkness all night, huddled, wet with piss and tears. Some man now lies beside me, whose rage replaces his tears. Some ever-hungry child would consume me, only to die of starvation.
Okay. Thank you. Anybody interested?
That's great stuff. It's really beautiful. Do you have one for me? Do you have your information on there?
Oh, I can give you my information.
Please do. Just leave it over there.
This is just an event.
All right. Do leave me your name and info. Okay. Now, you wanted to go, and then there's someone else and someone else.
Okay.
Good. Who's going to record you, though?
No, I have it right here.
Oh, okay. Wonderful. What's your name, sir?
Chris ICONICIDE, I'm known as.
Chris.
Yes.
All right. And you wanted to go as well? Yes, okay. All right, let's keep it going. I love poetry. Come on, Chris.
Right, slightly bit of background. I'm seen as Chris ICONICIDE. My band's been around for 35 years. Also, we're playing next Sunday at Bowery Electric. Also, I got 2 books out. The most recent is Notes from the Exploding Library. I got 2 trigger warnings at my most recent reading, so I'm going to keep it light. These are from, oh, it's true. These are from a collection of mine called Bite My Haiku. Anti-socialist haiku number 14. What happened? He asked. You died. It was beautiful, was my quick reply. Anti-socialist haiku number 16. No, you don't know me. If you knew me, I know you. Fuck in my face. Anti-socialist haiku number 18. Walking up to me and calling me sir will not get my attention. To serve and protect a family of 4, haiku. First laugh of the day, a fat cop just walked past me right into a wall. True story. Shelter in place haiku. I got 2 COVID haikus. Woman, rubber gloves, surgical mask around her chin, on the street, smoking. Cleanliness is next to COVID haiku. Bum on the train says, true story, if your masks are working then you cannot smell this. Transplant rejected haiku. If I hear someone say subway ticket again, I will shoot them dead. Transplant rejected haiku number 2. Heard a hipster say, New York is just so New York. What the fuck? Get out! Welcome to the Millennium haiku. Saw some idiots paw a paper map trying to make it zoom in. Privilege is haiku. Woman on the train says her PSA is, don't go to bed hungry. Flattery will get you nihilism haiku. Girl asks if I wear black because it's my favorite, but it's all I've got. NYC Parenting 101 haiku. Chinese mom to kid. Stop whining. Nobody care. On downtown train. Just trying to help haiku. You got a lighter? Me. Yeah, I don't smoke, but I do set things on fire. Street etiquette for the rest of us haiku. Given half a chance, homeless folk with shopping carts will use the bike lane. Him, relax guy. Me, I will relax when you're dead. That will be 5 minutes. Half a damned glass haiku. Good thing I'm hopeless, because if I weren't, I'd be fucking depressed. Duck season fire haiku. Him, do you vote? Me, I don't negotiate with fucking terrorists. Woman at work asked me to kill her, but I said, I don't do requests. If you see the light at the end of the tunnel, hey, you're in my light! Subhuman wave haiku. Overprivileged kid sits up in his stroller, then looks at me and screams. Those who mock history are millennial haiku. Heard a hipster say, full stop, as if he knew what a telegram was. Speak for yourself, asshole haiku. Why do people say we when it is obvious that they don't mean we? Smells like teen suicide haiku. My so-called dad wore cologne so he smelled good whenever he beat us. Why is the like button blue haiku? Manhattan sidewalk. Cops are playing on their phones. Police state is dumb. God spoke to one of my coworkers. The message, kid, get off my lawn. Pigeon shit as they launch themselves into flight, and I feel inspired. Nothing to see here, haiku. Young kid acting tough. On the train, looks at me and faces the corner. A lot of these are true stories. TMI, not UTI haiku. Project chick into golden showers says that my piss smells just like tea. Contusions of gender haiku. Some fella just called me a creepy weirdo. Is that a pickup line? Stupidity as honesty haiku. This is Halloween, like last year. Right on 14th Street. Saw a hipster dressed as Trump. No irony there. Separado por iniquidad haiku. Hispanics in your area cookout, you know you're not invited. And finally, old jokes die hard haiku. Pete, good friend of mine. You know what, Chris? You're fucked in the head. Me? You get it where you can. Thank you. My latest book, Notes from the Exploding Library, look for it online. My band ICONICIDE, been around 35 years. You still haven't heard of them? Come see us next Sunday at Bowery Electric. Free show starts at 2. Thank you for letting me waste some of your life. Well, the website is, and by the way, everything today has been videoed. If anyone has missed anything, it'll be on YouTube. Give me a couple of days. Completely unedited. And thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Chris. Wow.
Yay!
All right, and you are? Lehman. Weizelman. Okay. Lehman. It is Lissa, yes.
Thank you.
Most welcome.
Thank you. This poem is about division, but it's not at all divisive. Some women, they want you. The promise lingers like a gold tear in a vacuum. Then something or nothing happens. They retreat inside your ovular doubt. The bed falls asleep at its post. Thank you.
All right. And Rochelle, you want to do a line? And was there anyone else besides Rochelle? Ooh, we're coming to the end. It's an incredible day.
Connie.
My God. What a blow away fabulous day. All right. By all means, give us the tagline for this beautiful day.
Thank you.
Very well.
I will give you my shortest poem. Remember, if you lose your marbles, you'll have nothing left to play with.
All right. Well, how can I thank you enough, all of you who stayed? Bless you. That's a wonderful thing that you hung on to the very last word. And we leave with our marbles, I hope, intact. And everyone, there is a show going on in the Johnson and downstairs till midnight. Lots of wonderful things, and if you stick around at 9:51, I will be performing, and Valerie Ostiana will be performing at about 11. So stay till midnight. Fabulous, fabulous, all-free Lower East Side Festival of the Arts. This is our final day, and you're all wonderful, you're all brilliant. I enjoyed your work tremendously. And until next year, I bid you adieu.
Thank you. Yay. And 3 minutes left on my battery.